I never deny. Yeah, I told you I would never fold, even in the cold. I never lose my hope, back against the ropes. The sun's flower from the concrete is where I rose. It's just perspective, ain't no location for highs and lows. I can't believe the lie no more, the truth is in my soul. Holy Spirit, hold my pen, I'm writing with a ghost. The war's on, my hands are up, I'm fighting on 10 toes. I ain't come this far, fight this hard to make myself known. And I can't switch sides no more, to focus in the road, yeah. And I'm trying to eat, yeah. My plate garnished with goals. I keep my faith to Yahweh, keep subscribing to.
That song always cuts off way too early. I'm not quite ready for it. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see what we got in here. Got 7 in there? 7 in there? How's everybody doing? Sunday. Trying to do the streams a little bit more early now, or earlier. Great English, Seamus. Trying to do the streams a little bit earlier because the COVID is kind of dying off, eh? Wait until the second wave coming through. Probably be a tsunami. Tsunami. Yeah, I love that song. How's Lynn doing tonight? Jack and D-Mac. D-Mac. All right, we got 7 in here. 8. It's going up. It's going up. So I thought I'd talk about a couple things quickly. Maybe. I don't know. You never know where I'll go, right? Probably long. Oh, somebody just dropped. You gotta figure, right? I'd be like, okay, I'll do it quickly. Well, maybe not. And then somebody leaves. Anyway. Red Pill Awakener. Hello, sir, ma'am. Excellent. New. I love to see new faces. Bush babies in here. All right. So tomorrow, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Americanuck, Mike Phillip. I've been on with him a couple of times about the Nova Scotia stuff early on, and I'll be joining him tomorrow afternoon. So what is that? I get the time always muddled up. 12 till 1 Mountain, so 2 till 3 Eastern Standard Time, or 3 till 4 Atlantic, since it seems to be a lot of people in Atlantic Canada. And so it should be interesting. We'll see how long the conversation goes. It's just going to play it by ear and get him up to speed. Mike Phillips, really great guy. So I left the information down below on how to listen to the show, as well as his Twitter line, Twitter feed, Twitter twatters. And he's a really good guy. I like Mike, and he has a very good, he's radio material. That's why he's radio, right? He's born and raised radio. So it should be pretty good. The last few ones, have been good about and he's very supportive, and he wants to support. And the Americans, funnily enough, that listen to his show really are interested in what's going on. So maybe raise the awareness. Hey, Ozzy, how's it going? Right, if you can tune in, awesome. That'd be great. Love to see all of you there. Also, got an interesting little tidbit of information today. I'm not sure how to quite share that, but I was informed that the RCMP are investigating some things to do with certain things over on Facebook. I don't know. Maybe people have been dropping videos over there. I don't know. Maybe it's something else. But there, and a couple of other matters to do with the fallout that has come subsequent. RCMP are not very, they just want to shut it down, Like people love when I say that. Shut it down. Shut it down. They got to shut it down. Kathy in the house. And G, what's up? Tam, when will the RCMP get dissolved for murdering innocent Canadians? How about murdering their own? Never know. Yeah, RCMP murdering Canadians. Does seem to be that they may have murdered people. If Mr. Wortman turns out to be a police officer, I like to use those words because they like to use the agent and all this other stuff. No, police officer, police car, real police car. Let's just call it what it is, because that's the important stuff. And there's strong indications that this is all true, and also equally about them shooting their police officers. So, and last night was interesting to find out about the shooting in the foot. Again, many thanks to Ozzy, all the great people over on the Discord. I'd like to say thank you to you all. It's pretty active over there. Do hope that we can invite those of you who are interested in contributing, have information, over to the Discord and sharing what you know. I actually have been I phoned Tara today, and I was like, I'm upset. I will voice that. I'm angry. I'm angry at the lack of people coming forward, whether that be good police officers or people in the media who are really doing their due diligence and digging real deep into this, real deep. People who are witnesses. We have, according to the RCMP, over 650 witnesses now interviewed. Where are they? They've seen lots of things. They know lots of things. The EMS people have seen lots of things. Things can be done confidentially. Again, the information contact, please contact below. There's lots of people out there with pictures and movies that didn't share with the RCMP. And even those that did, maybe they still have spare copies around, because the RCMP, that went in the shredder for sure. Just like the warning for the intelligence community in Nova Scotia. Everybody else seems to be highly intelligent. The RCMP just it looked very bad for them, so they just put that in the shredder. So, Silver, what's up? Are you coming to Ottawa July 1st? I wasn't invited. I'll just stick with that one. I wasn't invited. It was mean. Sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. I don't ever know quite where I sit. So anyway, but I do hope that you guys will all have a good time that go down there. Special prayers. Wishing you guys good luck and fun times. Now, did I see the Dan Dix video, Press for Truth? Great video, lots of info. I think we've kind of covered most of what Dan Dix has done fairly early on. But I could be wrong. As I believe, everything was covered pretty much. But of course, then you have to endure long videos. How many people have we got in the Discord now? We're up to 1,719 people working their tails off over there. Good stuff. Hey, Brock, what's happening? So that's really good. Now, another thing I noticed when I was looking at the MCLEANS tape today, well, it's kind of right there in front of your face. Mr. Wartwin drove police interceptor cars, right? Let's see if we can find. I don't want to do my searching while got all that open. Okay, so let's see here. Let's try Workman. Dartmouth. Cruiser. Let's see if we can get a good shot of the in the dental lab. I think I've got it. Oop, that one's not very good. Here we go. Boom. How about that? Of course, you can't full screen them. Here we go. Now, this is the typical police interceptor, right? Police interceptor car. What's kind of one of the telltale signs of a undercover car? Well, it's the wheels. The wheels, right? If we go to the MCLEANS article, well, don't you know they have hubcaps? Doesn't look like police interceptor wheels, and Mr. Wortman was kind of big on the police interceptor wheels, police interceptor cars. You don't buy them from the auction with the wheel covers, and now all of a sudden he has wheel covers, if we're believing that he's buying them from the auction. Frankly, I know I was like barking at Mike. What are you saying? That's not a, like, that. What was that, day 3, 4? And I'm like, no, it don't call it replica. It's not a replica. It's a real police car. It's a real police car. But we have Mr. Wortman driving a car that has hubcaps. I don't know. Maybe he bought hubcaps after the fact. Maybe this car came with them, but it was just kind of a you're in the hospital, Brock. Oh no. Well, special prayers, Brock. We don't want you, and Michael's here. We don't want you hurt or sick. Please do get better. Never good to hear. Never good to hear, because good community over here. But I don't know if you guys found that any way interesting. Maybe it's just me being a little bit nitpicky. There was also one other detail. The video, to me, I don't know. We don't have the date and timestamp. Once again, very interesting how this always happens. No date, time. And you figure it's Brinks. Frankly, they're going to have the date and timestamp. These are just observations on my part, right? The other part was he is wearing an idiot strap and glasses. I don't recall seeing him wearing glasses, and all of a sudden now he's wearing glasses. This is the wrong tape, but this is good just for the wheel covers. Let's see if we can get the other one. Where is that? Here we go. Close. Go away. Why don't we do this one? Very shitty quality, again, on the video. Extremely shitty. Seems strange that we always have these shitty quality videos. Like honestly, could you tell who that is? To me, I can't. And when I've looked at photos of him kind of side by side, I can't see the resemblance. But do you, what about your guys? What is your thoughts, gals? What all do you guys think? Do you think this man looks like Mr. Wortman? Let's see. And then he's got these glasses with idiot straps. Oh, there we got some light. Does that look like Mr. Wortman to you? Because to me, I'm questionable. It's questionable for me whether that might be Mr. Wortman. I just want to find, hear your guys' opinion on that, because if it, I'm just talking out my ass, then it's best to be corrected on that. But it looks like Mr. Walter White. Yeah. Didn't he wear an idiot strap? He did, didn't he? But I don't recall Wortman ever wearing glasses. And his facial features, like this person's face is a lot fuller, whereas the Wortman I've seen pictures of, and there's multiple I've seen, not just the one with the cutout with the girlfriend, but other ones too. It doesn't necessarily look this kind of full and round. Looks older. What's an idiot strap? Well, if I had glasses, I'll tell you, I would wear them. Well, I do have glasses, but I never wear my glasses. So, idiot strap is the strap so that you don't lose your glasses. He's got an idiot strap on these glasses, this person. It's like, one of those things that you wear with if you were going to play squash or something. You see? Oh, that's it. The strap here connected to the glasses. I wonder if we can do like a little side by side here. Is that going to be the best one? Okay. How best to do this here? I thought I downloaded this video. Okay, let's do this. Hey, go away. I don't want that writing on there. Where's my mouse? Okay, can we do this? There we go. No, I didn't want that. You dirty, dirty dog. I don't want the printing on here. Why? Why do you want to do that? These videos are very difficult always to download too. For me anyways. They stick these new players in. I'm pretty sure I got it though. Did I have it? Brinks. He looks a lot older. Idiot strap. Anybody here wear idiot strap? Looks more frail there and a lot older. Brakes. Like it honestly doesn't look like the same man to me. But I could be wrong. Let's see if we can do this. Where's my friends over in Israel? They've got great facial recognition software. Can't we run it through there? I know that they do. Does anybody find the hubcap thing interesting or no? Is it just a moot point? I shouldn't even be looking at that. No, these videos blow. Why do I have these? Delete. Delete. Mystery. Innocent lives lost. I don't know where I put that. I'm hoping I can do a show here soon with Adrian and Steve. Time schedules always are never the best. I got a phone call. Adrian said he'll let me know what his schedule's like this week. I should be reaching out to him more though. People seem to comment that they like watching. Let's see, maybe I could do it this way. Can I do it this way? I just don't want this junk in there. Well, maybe we can get an idea on his height too. How tall is he supposed to be? 6? Is it 6'2"? Wasn't the same car parked in the office? No, it's not, because the same car at the denturist office had no hubcaps. They had the police mags. on it. Not the wheel covers. I don't think I'll be able to do this. I don't know why it's not being friendly with me, but let's see if we can just maybe put the photo. Can we do that? Blow the photo up. Can we do that? And then like this? Me? No, that's not going to work very well, is it? Drunk driving. Drunk driving. Is that the same person? What do you guys got here? Not his main cop car for sure. Absolutely not. No, not the main cop car. But also not the one that's in the Dentura slot, because the one that's in the Dentura slot had the do we still have that picture open? Here we go. See, it had the police mags. Well, lack of. Where you have just the mag. 75% match. Anybody have access to the Israeli facial recognition stuff? I missed something big about him working for the cops. I would say yes. Yeah, no, he probably worked for the police department. I don't think in the capacity that is necessarily being toyed around with, which is that he was an agent or a CI, because CIs don't have access to banks like that, and they don't have access generally to that amount of cash. Hit us, my bro, and Mishmash, Rick. Ears are different. Don't forget, he could have the COVID brows. Yeah, so the police car in this video, so that would mean that at least 2 of the 4 cars don't have the police issue mags, rims, right? And if he's buying them from police auctions like they say they are, so that leaves 2, right? 2 other cars. They would also have the police rims, which means that this video from McLean's wouldn't be him, because that car has rims, or sorry, wheel covers, right? Yeah. Wheel covers. I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that up. I don't think I have too much else to add today, other than, I do hope. I'm hoping and praying, and yeah, maybe I'm just getting a bit upset, but I don't like the fact that nobody is saying anything. Like, there has to be somebody. There was a couple of other things. Of course, always one more thing. What was that to do with? More excuses as to why the RCMP don't want to release details on their warrants. Let's see if I can find that. I'm pretty sure I had that article open. Free. Now, that was rather interesting email from the RCMP saying that they're investigating things that were appearing on Facebook and such. A few things. Like, it's a veiled threat. Ooh. I'm afraid. I'm probably just a real furry supporting some kind of public inquiry review or commission, because they don't want to go to they don't want an official one, because there are kind of rules. Okay, yeah, let's see if I can get this article and I'll read it. So we talked about the confidential informants. They didn't want to issue the warrants because, or the unredacted warrants, because if they did, that might give away confidential informants, but the warrants weren't obtained using confidential informants, which is kind of like a positive and a negative. They don't work together in logic, mathematical problem. The other one is here. Crown says, let's see if we can get this here. Crown says they're pulling all kinds of excuses out, every hole that they can, every single hole, right? We've got injustice collectors, we've got alcoholic, we've got wife beater, we've got anything and everything. Oh, you can't tell people because the families. How many excuses can you come up with for why you can't be transparent? Why you can't release information? Why aren't you investigating the crash site? I was talking about that too with Tara today. She was unaware of the Shuby stuff, thanks to Mr. Moneypenny, who sent some photos of the on the ground official closure of 224, because who was investigating is a good question. I don't know if it was CERT or RCMP, but they had that all closed down and now they're investigating it. My question would be, why weren't you investigating at the beginning? But we had that site, which was cleaned up relatively quickly. In the scheme of the other ones, it was slow. We had Gina Goulet's house cleaned up in under 30 hours. No police tape, nothing, all done. We're all good here. 3 shootings there, 1 murder, and two dogs shot. Oh, no, that's fine. That's cleaned up. We had the application to Colchester County to bulldoze all of the houses in rapid order. Well, that was done. The house up in, who's that, Sean McLeod and Alan Jenkins, their house wasn't even finished getting put out. Like, the firemen are still there putting out the fire, and you've got a backhoe there destroying it. This, to me, doesn't smell like investigation at all. Any kind of crime scene investigation. What it does sound like is burying. And I think that's exactly what happened. I don't think anything really ever got investigated at all. Even though they came out and they're like, it's going to take us forever to do this because we've got to treat this like a real crime scene investigation, as if he was alive. So it's going to take forever. No. It's going to take forever because they don't want to talk about it. Because they know there's a big problem, or lots of them. And I'm beginning to think it's far more serious than just the things that kind of we've tossed around, which are Mr. Wortman was a police officer, and that with strong likelihood, and we've talked about that for a long time, and that the RCMP killed their own people, and the murder of Mr. Wortman. I was delighted to see today somebody made some comment about that he was assassinated, which is very true. He was, in my opinion. And I'm using witness testimony. That's why I'm going on that. Now, here we go. Let's try this one. Crown release of Nova Scotia mass shooting details could harm massive probe. Oh, what excuse number are we on here? Seriously, you need to have a list of all the excuses that they've got going. We can't talk about it because of the family members. It may be traumatic to them, so we can't give them any answers. This article is going to refer to that. And of course, I know that at least on a limited scale, but there is a very good piece of very, very good here and here. Let's get to that. Shut up, Seamus. Joey Weber. Right on, my brother. You know what's going down. What happened to Joey Weber, right? And even their own warrants. We read their warrants. Their warrants are so interestingly worded. And they're very careful. This is why they read these pieces of paper all the time. You know, you see them at the press conference, and Leather is like, oh, you know, that's because lawyers and the PR firm are doing this, very much lawyers. But as you can see here, right, 1723, Constable Stevenson was located deceased and her firearm and 2 magazines were missing. That's interesting. You don't have anything about being shot. You say they got into an accident, right? 1722 at Highway 224 near Milford Street, which doesn't exist. Gabriel Wortman was involved some sort of an accident. Now we're at some sort of an accident. This is how good the accident reconstruction is. Mr. Moneypenny was absolutely right. Reconstruction collectors, should call them, operated by, with the police car being operated by Constable Heidi Stevenson, Constable, a peace officer, a member of the RCMP, but as both vehicles had front end damage, which is not true. Only one vehicle did. Both vehicles were on fire. 1723. What would be the next thing that happened? Well, probably would be witnesses saw Constable Stevenson get out of the car, Mr. Wortman shot her, and such and such. No, what we have is we go straight to jail, actually. We have Constable Stevenson, who is just now dead for no reason. I don't know. She had a heart attack. But you have nothing in between. Did she die in the car accident? Maybe she died in the car accident. Dead man can't talk. Dead man can't talk. That's the name of the public inquiry video judge that the justice did that oversaw the public inquiry into Don Dunphy's death. And I like people, I refer that. Hopefully people will watch the Don Dunphy stuff. CBC has a very good playlist. Anyway, but it's got testimony. And you can just kind of watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. The RCMP are covering for the RNC, and there seems to be definitely evidence being planted. Then ACERT is investigating the RCMP's investigation of the RNC, and the RCMP are like, oh yeah, everything was fine. ACERT, everything was fine. They loved it. They just thought it was wonderful. We followed everything by the book. He kept saying the same lines over and over, like they always do, you know, fluid dynamic, blah, blah, blah. They have the buzzwords and the very carefully scripted stuff. And for 9 minutes, he just kept saying, oh yeah, no, everything's fine. And then it came out in the ACERT report. Well, no. ACERT was like, for some reason, there was a technical difficulty, and the interview with the person who shot Don Dunphy was not recorded. The police officer who shot Don Dunphy, that was Constable Smythe, wasn't recorded because of a technical problem. RCMP have a lot of technical problems, losing warrants, losing intelligence, lost intelligence. They're just intelligence gone. But they're not. And they want you to buy that. They just want you to say, oh, they're just incompetent. No. They're not incompetent. ACERT then went on to say about the interview with, about the actual failure to record the interview which they were very nice to say that it was just a technical problem. It would have helped if you'd taken notes, because usually that's the way it's done. You have the video and you have the notes, but you have neither. The RCMP are like, no, we can't comment on that because public inquiry is coming up. Here we go, new excuse. This one, same thing. Blah, blah, blah. Media seeking to have provincial court judge release blacked out sections of the court documents. I wonder if that car had wheel covers on it. Do you think? I think it didn't. I think it just had rims. Prosecutors are arguing that fully revealing the information to obtain the search warrants following the province's recent mass shooting could compromise the massive police investigation and identify innocent parties. Really? I would say no. A media consortium is seeking to have provincial court judge release blacked out sections of the court documents submitted by RCMP, as well as the results for the searches. Provincial Crown attorneys Mark Harima, and if these people, I would feel fairly slimy presenting these arguments as a lawyer. Really, I would, because they can't even focus on one. They got to pull out every kind of card under the sun. Say in submission, the court document to the court that the material sealed to protect the investigation, including the models of the guns the killer used. And I saw, what was that? Somebody, of course, they get thousands of views, but did a video about the guns. We've been talking about the guns over here a long time. Where RCMP issue weapons? Oh, I think so. That's why none of the families have any autopsies. Can't show you the autopsy, because if we show you the autopsy, perhaps the ballistic information that might be contained therein might say that those were RCMP bullets that were being used, fired from RCMP issue weapons, which then would say, how does he have RCMP issue weapons, an RCMP car? He has a badge. He has multiple uniforms, multiple real authentic uniforms. He has an HRP, Halifax Regional Police, full uniform also. One has to wonder, where is he getting all this stuff? Is it because he's a police officer? Just maybe. The models of the guns used should remain sealed for 6 months. And when I saw that at first, I was like, well, 6 months doesn't seem like a long time, but I understand why now they say 6 months. They also say in the document released Friday that the material blacked out to protect interests of innocent persons should remain sealed permanently. Let's just have a boo. I love this one. This one's my favorite, but there's lots of them. How about right there at the top, it's speaking about Constable Morrison, and you can see blank times. He shot blank times. Why does that compromise anything? No, it doesn't change anything. You're not protecting the innocent. Doesn't matter if you shot him 6 times, 7 times. The investigation is understandably massive and only in its infancy. That's why houses got bulldozed. That's why a backhoe came in, was destroying the house while it was still on fire. That's why Gina Goulet's crime scene was cleaned up, très rapide, under 30 hours. Okay. Yeah, it's in its infancy. I think it isn't in its infancy. I think it'll be dragging on for some time, intentionally. The media's interest in this story should not trump truth and accuracy. Are they being sued currently right now for being untruthful? The answer to that one is yes, because they lied. and they're actually being sued for lying. Thank you. Both of which will be accomplished through maintaining the integrity of the investigation at this early stage. We're now 2.5 months into it. Okay. The Crown's legal arguments have yet to be presented before the provincial court. Family of victims say they are not being told enough. Really? Really? Is this shocking to anybody? I have contact with 2 families, and both of them are saying, in fact, I'll say this much. I discovered that they're both being sent form letters. Even though they kind of have the appearance of personalized letters, they're actually copy pastes. Exactly the same, verbatim. And they say, please just refer to the interviews that we never issue, which are over a week old, and CBC won't air because, you know what, they don't think it's breaking news. Or is it just that they sit there with scissors and they're like lawyers and they're like, oh, people are going to find out things. Better get that out. Or we're going to get sued on that one. Oh, we might have that. Campbell, you made a mistake. You baddie, Campbell. You shouldn't have said that. We'll just cut that out. They're sitting there with CBC and they're working together. Because why? Well, one's a media arm and one's a police wing of the same entity, right? They both have the same boss, which isn't you, even though in theory it is, right? If it was in theory and we were operating in non-bizarro world, there's transparency and you're their boss and you demand answers and they give them. In this world, what happens is you say, I want a press conference, I want details, and they say at the press conference, you just ask a question, we don't want to, you're out. And then, you know what, we have things to do. Sorry, we're shutting it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. What kind of employee how do you think that would go over? You, if you said that to your boss. You know what? I'm done here. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. You just asked me something I don't want to talk about. You're kicked out. I'm never talking to you again. And I'm leaving the room because I've got things to do. Some of the family members of the 22 victims, April 18 shootings, have stated publicly that they've not been told enough about what occurred in the rampage of Gabriel Wardman. Most of the families are seeking to register. This was what I liked. I didn't know this part. This is new. Most of the families. Now, I'm not the best at math. Most means more than 50%. So that means over 11 families right now are suing the RCMP. We know of 2. Now it's up to over 11. They're really in the shit. And I'm glad. Because, as I said from the very beginning, seriously, and you guys all know that, right from the start, sue, 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 sue. That's the only way you're going to get the answers. Because if they do their little dance with Mark Furry, I don't know if he does the furry thing. Maybe he's into furries. You know furries? Maybe he's into furries. Who's ex-RCMP? Of course. Mark Furry, who's the Justice Minister of Nova Scotia, says, you know what we're going to do? We'll have some kind of a probe or maybe something. We'll just invent the rules as we go. We won't go with the public inquiry because if we do the public inquiry, well, there's kind of a set of rules that we got to follow. And we don't really like those rules. So we'll just invent something new. And we'll call it something flashy. Maybe we'll call it a super probe or an anal probe or something else, and you're going to get the answers. We guarantee you, you will. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hope also, Beth, all of them sue. And I hope we will have the information, at least in part, to give to them so that they don't have to go around and say, what happened here? What about that? They can say, you know what, on this time here, it says that you're saying this, and we have evidence to dispute that. How do you answer that? What do you have to say about that? And then a list of people maybe to depose. You ask the following people to come in and ask them certain questions because we kind of know what questions are good to ask. Okay, massive probe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something's going on there, but I won't touch that one. Seeking to register a class action lawsuit against the RCMP. Now let's see if this is that, sadly, that disgusting article, which of course indicates that the RCMP are very concerned about hurting the family's feelings, right? This is how concerned that they are. Let's see about that. What was that? Oh, right. Police return vehicle with human remains inside. Hello? So if you ask questions, they say, we're not answering that. We'll refer you to our media department with the state, with the press releases, which the press releases are kind of fuzzy and they don't really have any answers about anything. We have a very extensive timeline, which has like 7 times on it. It's super, super awesome over 13 hours. You know, he's just sleeping over here for a bunch of hours. Don't worry about that. Oh, and we found some boots over here. Yeah, really. Okay. Very, very well done. Very well done. I'd give it about an F. Police returned vehicle with human remains. Is this sensitive? Does that sound like sensitive behavior to you? Can you imagine? That's referring to the O'Briens. And Molly O'Brien has been over here and watches. You know, and I'm sorry if that's disturbing. I really don't want to upset anybody, like any of these family members. In fact, I totally understand what I would feel like. Because if the RCMP returned a car to me that had human remains in it, and my mother's or something like that, in her case it's her mother, right? And returned a car to me with human remains in it, I think I would get a cellophane, something, and put it over the seat. I would drive that car down to the RCMP office. I would park it in front of their office. I would pour gas all over it, and I would burn it. And I would walk away. You know, thanks. Thanks for treating me so sensitively. Really appreciate it. Unbelievable. And so good for her. Good for Tyler. Tyler, the stand-up man who at 26, 27 years old is taking care of his half-brothers who had to sit on the phone for 2 hours with 911 while the RCMP were literally just down the street waiting for their armored personnel carrier to come. And the 911 operator, who equally was highly traumatized. I'd be very, very surprised if she is not filed for long-term disability at this point. Very, very, very terrible. And he did the right thing. He's such a stand-up guy. He's like, you know what? These kids, they're with me now. I'm going to take care of them. You know, Canadian stepped in. They ponied up, sent in a bunch of money. But really, you think about that. He's going to raise these kids. He's a young man himself. He just had to grow up real fast. Real fast. Lots of things you'd like to do when you're 27 years old, and taking care of kids at that age might not be one of them. Maybe they are. Maybe he's married. I don't know. I don't know the background of him. But honestly, to take on two of your brothers, right? Which, of course, is the absolute right thing to do, of course. But it's the manly thing to do. A real man steps up. RCMP, of course. No. We're going to return cars with bodies in them. That's the way we do things. We wreck crime scenes. We return bodies in cars. Yeah, because they care. They care. Over the response of the shooting, during the shooting and arson events, went on with 5 communities over 12 hours. Advocates for gun control, advocates for women who suffered for domestic abuse have called on a greater public revelation what kind of weapons were used and details prior violence that has been alleged the Wortman had committed. Again, we did this. See, this is the interesting part. What kind of weapons? The RCMP weapons. Hey, Molly. So nobody wants to tell you that. Nobody wants to tell the families this stuff. They're sending them form letters. They don't answer questions. What was it? One individual, I won't name them, said, he gave some kind of a nickname. And he said, you know what, if you need to get a hold of me, he didn't say his real name, by the way. He just said, you need to get a hold of me. You just call down here and you just ask for this nickname. Everybody knows me. Well, no, I would like your real name. No, everybody knows me. Yeah, but I would really like your real name so I can have that for my records and stuff. No, you don't need that. No, I want it. Okay, so they give the real name. But in subsequent phone down to Bible Hill, I believe might be a centralized hub then it gets transferred to. But nobody knew who this person was. They're like, who are you looking for? Nickname? No, never heard of that person before. No, but they said everybody knows him. No, sorry, don't know who you're looking for. Oh, okay. Once you give them the name, then they know. But I guess this guy just really thinks he's very popular. Maybe he's very popular. But maybe he just thinks so, and he's not really that popular. But if you want to then get the answers, then they're just going to float you over to, well, you can just consult the last press conference or the statement. Autopsies. There were no autopsies. The autopsies that were requested never got issued. In fact, the coroner office said specifically the RCMP has said that they will not issue, which I believe actually contravenes the Fatal Injuries Act of Nova Scotia. In fact, what am I saying there? It could be wrong, because I don't know the law that well down there, but that would mean that they're actually breaking the law. Because if your family member requests the autopsy, they have to provide a full and complete written autopsy. Not, they won't be done for 8 months. You see, but Molly, and I'm sure you're of like mind here on this one. What's the 8 months mean? The 8 months means like the interview with Campbell or anything that they say. We'll get you that timeline by tomorrow. No. With them, it's how can we fuck over everybody? Absolutely. 100%. So that we can cover our own ass, because we got a lot of skeletons in our closet and we don't want people to know about them. And frankly, anybody who got killed in this, they're fodder. It doesn't matter, right? Because we're going to treat families with respect. Like, we can't reveal details because of the shield of family sensitivity. Yeah, we're going to return cars in the condition that they return them in. Real sensitive. We'll answer questions when requested. Real sensitive. We'll contact them because, that's right, Nova Scotians were so good and stepped up to the plate and did made quilts for families. Not the RCMP. No, they didn't sit there and have a quilting bee. No, nice friendly Nova Scotian average citizens who didn't necessarily know anybody sat there and sewed. And you know what they were thinking while they were sewing, right? Their prayers, their thoughts, all of that went in there. What did the RCMP do? Oh, they just return cars like that. They say, we can't answer anything. It doesn't matter. Or the interview is going to be tomorrow. Oh, sorry. We just wasted another hour of your life. You're like, it must absolutely be devastating to sit there and want answers. And they say, oh, we're going to give it to you tomorrow. Oh, sorry, it didn't happen. Well, maybe tomorrow. That must be CBC's fault. Oh, no, we'll have it to you on Monday. While people are sitting there watching, waiting for the answers, and they're watching about lobsters and bubbles of kovu and all kinds of other things. No, you want the answers to what happened to your family. And this is how you're going to do it. You're going to use the state broadcaster with a pre-scripted garbage interview, which is going to talk about kovu, right? Because that was another reason that he did his stuff. It was kovu, it was injustice collectors, it was beating women, it was all these other things, except for maybe, well, he was a cop on the other side. Not an agent, but an actual cop, an undercover cop running a Mr. Big operation. Mr. Big. Lie, and then lie about lying. I like that one. Campbell lied about lying. And we picked out the lies. We pick them out every time he says them. But the big one where he said, nobody got pulled over. That night, I don't know if we broadcast it live, that particular one, where he was going through and drew kind of the timeline. And I'm like, you can't, what is he doing? Is he flying a carpet? What is he doing? How is he stopping these individuals? Even if they're stopped on the side of the road, which it turns out may have been the case, at least in one of the nurses, right? Now, if that's true, what vehicle was he driving? Did he ride up on his bicycle? He left his police car back there. He rode up on his bicycle. Then he rode down the road on the bicycle, and then he rode back to go and pick up his police car because no, he didn't use the police car at all. No. He didn't pull anybody over with a police car. You're playing funny games with words is what you're doing. He absolutely used the police car. And thank goodness for the suit identifying that as one of the lies. And then Campbell sits there and he says, you know what? I haven't lied about anything. Everything I've said is totally truthful. Well, if you want to play really funny games with words, maybe. If you're an extremely disgusting individual, very low quality of character. But remember what happened to his ex-wife, right? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happened to her or all those Native women. Who cares about them? I got promoted twice. Yay! I went from sergeant major or whatever the hell he was to inspector. But you know what? My wife, the company, the same organization that I work for, threw her out, said that she was an alcoholic, she had post-traumatic stress disorder, all these other things. Why? Because she was going to testify against us and say, as a police officer, you know what? We fucked up. And I'm going to stand up in court and say that. Oh, no, we can't have that. We've got to fire her. And this is the same Campbell, right? His son, their son, very sadly, tragically, because she clearly is a very good individual, very good character, who is sexually harassed throughout the whole time with the RCMP and sued and caused many other women. I can't remember how many, I think, came forward in her case. 400, maybe it was, women came forward in that particular one for a $200 million settlement. Oh, that'd be one of two $200 million settlements against the RCMP. Because you know what? They don't have a problem over there. I think that went in the shredder too. Or the women, they lied. They lied just the other day over in Colchester and got busted in court lying again. This is really awesome. That's that same Bible Hill wonderfulness. Bible Hill. I don't think it should be called Bible Hill. I think it should be called Satanic Hill. Because they're evil. And anybody who's not evil, that's over there, to which I think that there probably are many. What is there, 26 officers, I think, out of that unit? If they're not, they should do the correct thing. They should abide by the very code that they swore to, which says that they have to immediately report things that are that contravene the RCMP code, which is part of the justice system, as well as criminal behavior. They have to come up forward and say, listen, I knew about this, or I found out so-and-so did that. Whistleblowing, you have to tell. You have to. No. Instead, they just bury it all. Hey, Grey Elf and Son of Rambo. Okay, so sorry enough. Ranting. I rant, but this stuff just makes me so upset because I can literally feel the pain that people feel. No, awful. The gunman was shot and killed by police in Enfield, but investigators are still looking into how he obtained his weapons. If they're RCMP issue, well, that wouldn't be hard to get. And whether he had any assistance in creating a replica RCMP vehicle and acquiring a police uniform. Oh, that's that here. Sorry, CBC. Oops. First of all, that's not true. One police uniform? We know of multiple. Not just RCMP uniforms, Halifax Regional Police uniforms. A badge. Oh, police badge. How does one get a police badge if you're not a police officer? Strange. Because all of the uniforms that you get as an RCMP officer, when you're done your service, you have to turn them in. When that pair of pants, the knee wears out, you have to turn them in because they have to be destroyed. But that's according to their own, once again, their act. So they sit there with the checklist. So how is he getting all these police uniforms from 2 different police departments and a badge? Is he an integrated officer? Undercover? CBC just said, oh, don't worry. It just one uniform. A uniform. Not true. That's not true. But of course, who is CBC? The media wing of the same police force. Yay! That's why Campbell is doing the interview with CBC. But it's not just CBC who does this stuff, sadly. Other media outlets also do it. Very tragic. And that just shows how much trust we can have in our media. The Crown argues that the redactions are necessary to protect the investigation. Question? Top line there. Shot blank times. Constable Morrison, shot blank times. Please help me. Skill testing question to all you great people out there, my wonderful brothers and sisters in arms who are helping us look at this. Please tell me how this protects the investigation. Is that protecting something? Does that protect something? And this isn't the only one. There's lots of stupidness. Stupidness throughout these warrants where they just Some warrants even will redact information, but then in the next warrant, the same line will be used, but that won't be redacted. So you actually can kind of put more of it together, but they're really protecting something. This is their best friend. This and their PR firm and their lawyers who write their scripts and they read them. And they fuck them up too. Lots of great fuck ups, even when they're reading them. Leather. We used the emergency alert, didn't we? I'm like, did you just say that? Or how about they asked them about the guns? They asked them about the guns. And Campbell replies, well, he didn't have any of those guns before. He's very wordy about all kinds of things. He didn't have any of those guns before because that intelligence statement said exactly where the guns were. The guns were located 200 Portapique Beach Drive behind the chimney in a secret compartment. In fact, I've read a statement from, apparently, from the contractor that built it. So, they knew where the guns were. Everybody else knew where the guns were. But, you know what? They never took them away. But instead, they asked him, let's see where that is. Okay, there we go. See if you pick up on the same thing that I do, because I most certainly picked up on it. It's a bit wordy. He's trying to fuck you around, but listen carefully.
3 of the weapons that were in the government's possession on April 19th were certainly acquired well after the 2011 bulletin. One of those weapons, it's possible, based on the timeline of the information that we have, is that one of those weapons may have been in the possession, and it appears to be that that would be the case, that the government was in possession of one. That one of those weapons, the timeline of the information that we have, is that one of those weapons may have.
Okay, so what did he just say? He said, may have been. One of those weapons may have. Listen to the next statement, though.
Been in the possession, and it appears to be that that would be the case, that the government was in possession of one of those weapons.
Uh-oh. So that means if somebody had done a search, they would have found a gun. If they'd found the gun, it didn't matter even anyway, but if they had found the gun, because it said how many guns there were, and I believe there were 2 handguns, 2 long arms, semi-automatic rifles. I think it may be converted RCMP, or they are RCMP issue weapons. But anyway, that's my belief. But if they discover those weapons, well, he goes to jail. But nobody searched because what? Oh, he had the one police officer that would always come and respond to there. Why one police officer? Only one who visited him numerous times over the years? Mm-hmm. Did a moderator delete my comment and link? No, I don't believe so, Frenchton. Sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I do kind of ramble on power. I miss what you guys, great things you guys are saying. But no, nobody's deleted your link. You don't have the ability to link. YouTube doesn't allow that. Sorry, friend. Okay, so you can put in like something and then put a space in. That's the best way to do it. At like space or dot and then right dot. Striped pants fit 6'3" guy. Take long time to so why to sorry? No way. Striped pants fit 6'3" guy. So why take along and dump a genus? Oh, those pants don't fit. 6'3". What about the video, Mr. Moneypenny? I was asking earlier about the video. One thing I noticed on the video, this car has wheel covers on it, which aren't police cars don't have that. Police cars have the police interceptors have mags, the rims, police rims, the black ones, you know, you all know, with the silver thing. This car actually does not. It has wheel covers. The other thing I noticed here was, and this may be something of note in terms of his height, 6'3". Is he in fact 6'3" in this picture? And in fact, does it even look like this individual? I don't know. I'm not so certain. I've never seen a picture with glasses, that he was wearing glasses. And this person is wearing glasses. And the quality of this video, as with the quality of every single still that they have given us, every single one, no date, no time, except for one has a time, another one does have a correct date and time, but we can't tell any of the cars in any of those. And then two that do have dates and times. Oh, sorry, there is another one that's correct. And then two, including one that's an RCMP camera, which they say is off by 52 minutes. And then the Cigar Hut, which is off by 30 minutes. Seems very strange. Show that again? Okay. Faye, how are you doing, Faye? No, not. Do they? Does Campbell look like him too? Here, you know what? Actually, I can do. I can try to do this. Oh no! Can I get it? I'm trying to get the. No, go away. Oh, okay. No! Didn't work. I have bad timing. Bad timing. That's him? Ms. Fox, you think that's him? Okay. Fair enough. 6'3". That door doesn't make that person look like a 6'3". Seems much shorter. Could just be me. The window, the location of the window, you can see where the handle is on the door. That seems less than 6 feet, actually. Just a different age. A few years older. Okay. No rims. Okay. Anyway, we should go back to the article here. I digress. Investigations are becoming complex. That's the backhoe and the bulldozer complex, and the cleaned up in under 30 hours complex, and that we need to come back and investigate. We need to investigate the crime scene 2.5 months later, as in Shub. Oh yeah, we'll just shut that down. Shut it down. We'll go and take some measurements because we only have some sort of an accident. We told those people it was some sort of an accident. And Gina Goulet's house, where there is the shooting of 2 dogs, so that means that there are 2 shootings, right? And he's running around clearly in there. There is the theft of a vehicle and a murder of a woman. But you can get that all totally tidied up in under 30 hours. Who knows actually how long it took, but the picture is 30 hours later, and it's deserted, except for 1 police car. Interesting. It cites a series of recent court decisions that allowed blacking out of documents in the early stages of the investigations. Look at Quebec. Ask yourself, how long did it take before they released the actual unblacked out versions? Well, that's right. They didn't. That's what they're going to do. It's stall tactics. Stall tactics. Investigations are becoming complex. Courts acknowledge the complex investigation takes time to fully corral. If perhaps if Molly's here, she can enlighten us. I don't know how much she follows stuff closely, or because I mean, obviously, it's just a big. Why did the judge change? No media ever reported on why the judge changed in terms of the case to do with the release of the warrants and the redactions. We had originally seemingly a very good judge who actually really gave the RCMP a good spanking, and the Crown a very good spanking, and said, I want that stuff now. And when I mean now, I want it now. And that was Al Bagan. Well, Al Bagan disappeared, and we got replaced with Justice Halfpenny McQueary. Not sure why that happened, and it seems like Judge McQueary, Halfpenny McQueary, is much more favorable to the RCMP. I wonder why that was. Dome guy is bald. Okay. Landmark case. Now, this is why they only went for the 6 months. They note in a 2012 court, New Brunswick allowed for the sealing of each order related to search warrants in the case of the Dennis Oland murder case to be extended by 6 months. Portions of the search warrants were eventually released. Portions. See? Portions. You're never going to get them all. They're just like that black marker stuff. Some of the key legal principles on when search warrants can be released stem from a 1982 Supreme Court of Canada decision in a case launched by the investigative reporter Lyndon McIntyre. CBC. The highest court ruled, oh, here we go. You see, this picture you can't see, they're putting out the cars. To the left of this right here is the backhoe destroying the house. The crime scene? Yeah, they're doing that whilst they're still putting out fires. Just so you can have a little context there with that photo. The highest court ruled that once a search warrant is carried out, the warrant and supporting documents must be made public. Must be made public. Of course, because we own those. It's our court system. When documents come into court, any documents, divorce papers, whatever, they become the property of the people. But exceptions can be made, such as, protecting innocent parties if the search didn't yield evidence. Do you think these search warrants yielded evidence? I think so. In his ruling, Justice Brian Dixon wrote, quote, the rule should be one of public accessibility and why am I not being able to say this word right now? Okay, I can't. I don't know if it's just I'm having a bad day, I think. Judicial accountability And public access should only be restricted, quote, to protect social values of superordinate importance. However, the Crown lawyers argue one of the areas of superordinate importance is protection of the innocent. They argue that in court decisions made since McIntyre's landmark case, the courts have widened the definition of innocent parties. And that it would cover many of the witnesses used to obtain search warrants. Concerns around naming witnesses. The Crown lawyers argue that naming witnesses who spoke with police may connect them to the worst shooter in Canada. Now, well, that's too bad. Honestly, you are the company that you keep. Did we not learn that as children? I used to hang out with some bad kids. Maybe I was one of those bad kids too. You are the company that you keep. If you have people that are not such good characters, you probably don't want them as friends. And if you choose to have them as friends, well, sadly, that's part of the game that you play. It's a risk, right? You can't sit there and say, well, oh, no, I don't want people to know because, well, now it might look bad on me. Why did you become friends with them in the first place then? Do you want to be friends with people of ill repute? DC, who sorry, what is somebody? Facts versus feelings. Howdy. G says something. Google says the height of a 2019 Ford Taurus is 60.7 inches. So that is 5 feet. What is the average door? What is the average door height? If you're 6'2", I don't think that window is 6'2", honestly. And look at where the guy stands. Not that we're... No, that doesn't work for me. Just saying, it's an observation. It doesn't mean that it is or isn't. I'm just making observations. Wheel covers, height of this man, it doesn't maybe appear like it is the same man. Could be wrong, could be not be wrong. The quality of the photo is pretty shitty. That's all I can say. Brown Lane, oh, the Brown Loop. The Brown Loop. Is that what you guys are talking now about now? Brown Loop. Federal lawyers representing Canada Border Service Agencies. Oh, here we go. The CBSA is also fighting. Interesting. Everybody's fighting to keep this from getting known. Makes similar arguments in a brief that argues their investigation into potential smuggling of weapons that Wortman used is in its early stages. After 2.5 months, Canada's worst mass murder. They have tons of agencies, tons of fucking officers, no shortage of resources because, well, that's your money. You pay for it. But you know what? They're in the early stages. They're in the special needs stages, I think. The special needs stages of hiding things. They are also asking for materials to be blacked out, their investigatory purposes to remain sealed for 6 months, and information blacked out, quote, for the protection of the innocent, to be permanently sealed. Why? Why? Maybe people might ask questions of them. Maybe Molly or other families that are involved, and I'm not saying I don't know specifically Molly, but other families that are the O'Briens definitely are suing. Maybe they might want to call those people, so they might want to know those names. But if you black them out, well, then you just never get to know. You can't call them because, well, they're hidden. You've really protected the innocent. Meh. media's arguments to be heard soon. Lawyer David Coles, representing a variety of news organizations, including the Canadian Press, will be presenting the media's arguments in upcoming hearings. During the April 24th news conference, RCMP Superintendent Darren Campbell said that the RCMP are responsible to determine the actions of the gunman over the 13-hour rampage. Well, the actions are, as you say it, not that I necessarily believe it, that he killed 22 people. Okay, now, let's get on with it. Stop using your marker, please. Stop fighting in court, because that's wasting a lot of time, and start doing the right thing like a good human being instead of doing a shitty thing against Canadians. You know, this is like not naming murder victims. They don't like to name murder victims, because if you name a murder victim, well, you might see that there might be, and yes, there is. I will tell you, because I studied the crime statistics for different cities and used to go through all the crime reports, murder reports, etc. You might see that there might be disproportionate problems within certain communities. Rather than addressing that, what you do is you just simply identify some murder victims and some you don't, and you say, well, sometimes it's privacy and sometimes it's not, even though, who is it? It's here in Alberta, Chief Nacht up in Edmonton. He was the one who came up with this brilliant idea, because they actually do have quite a serious problem. I'm not going to get into that at this point in time, but they do have a very serious problem. And so what he decided to do was selectively name some people and selectively not, right? And so, well, it kind of worked well, and other chiefs kind of took to it around the province. So he pushed this idea on all of the chiefs of Alberta. And so they say, well, no, you know, sometimes we'll tell, sometimes we won't tell. It's privacy, and it's also, we're respecting the law. Well, frankly, if you do it sometimes and you don't, you're not really following the law very well at all, because you either do it or you don't. Black, white. You break the law, you don't break the law. It's not a gray area. But it's very convenient, because then that keeps people snowed. It's very important to snow people. That's what this whole thing is about, snowing. The RCMP investigation is snowing people. He said that the priority is to determine the gunman's movements and whether anyone assisted him prior to the attacks or in obtaining these weapons. So again, I will make a prediction. That one of the things that he's going to say, more than likely, is he's going to say, well, there's other parties involved, so therefore we can't tell you anything anymore. Okay? Even though there's not. You're also not going to see people getting charged. He's apparently supposed to talk about that. I don't think you're going to see people getting charged. Why? Because if they charge people, as in graphics people, as in which they have known about forever and a day, graphics people, if they're using this claim and they actually think that it is true, which I frankly don't, the graphics people, those people broke the law, well, you don't charge them. About the weapons, well, you don't charge them. About the uniforms, which they've identified who, they don't charge them. That is because if you do, well, those people may, in their defense, start to reveal things. They might start to ask questions to save their own ass. And that would be very, very bad for the RCMP, right? So they don't want you to know these kinds of things. Anyway, so tomorrow I will be on with Mike Phillip, and I left a link down below, and it is at 12 Mountain, 1 Central, 2 Eastern, and 3. Is that right? Yes, 3 Atlantic. Since I have lots of nice people down there in Atlantic Canada who are pissed off, and rightfully so, and afraid. This is a comment I hear from a lot of people. They're afraid of their own police force. This is pure lunacy. And yet you have these jokers sitting up there claiming things that are completely untrue. Like, oh, we really care about you, and we want transparency, and we don't lie about lying. No, you do. And you got a serious problem. You're worse than the criminals that you are supposedly arresting. You are criminals in many cases. This is very sad. If this turns out to be a Mr. Big, and I'm sure, Eckbert, how you doing, buddy? In the gazebo. Are you calling me names, man? Don't be calling me names. Out in the gazebo, enjoying the weather, right? They don't want that, right? They want to keep you in the dark as much as possible. It was from 10:01, the phone call. There's a shooting down here. It was, oh my God, that Gabe guy, he's fucking gone off. Shit, what do we do? What do we do? How do we cover this up? Use the Twitter. If we use the Twitter and we don't inform people for an hour, I know he's burning people though. He's shooting people. No, don't use it for an hour. Have the cat rolling around. Have the cat. Because if you don't use it, nobody knows. And maybe we can bury it. We can get rid of these cop cars, and we can hide the weapons, and we can do all these things. We can try and get ourselves out of the shit because we know from 10:01. Oh no! And that's what it was. Then, as he's running around shooting and burning down there in Portapique for the longest time, right? Doesn't take somebody in their vacuum with their computer modeling skills. Please go and show me how you can burn down multiple residences, subdue people, tie them up, burn them alive, shoot them, go up and down the road with gas cans, and I don't care, maybe phosphorus grenades, who knows? They said they didn't find any, but who knows? Now, show me going up and down kilometers of roads, doing all of this stuff. You can do that in 34 minutes and then drive through a field with that 4x4 cruiser. That's why they don't want people going down to Orchard Beach Drive. I'm fairly certain. It has nothing to do with protecting the citizens down there. Nobody's going to be stupid. Nobody wants to do anything. Yeah, there's a few goofs out there who are going to go and do rubbernecking. But they don't want, one or two people to go down there and go down to the end of the road, down to Cabot-Quid Court, and turn left and go over and see the road that they claim that you can get out of. Fuck. It's not a road. You don't take a cruiser through a field. Ask Etberg. He's been out to my ranch. There's no way you can take a car through a field. It's completely preposterous. And he does it all in 34 minutes. Are you out of your mind? No. No, but they don't want you to go down there. You can go down Portapique Beach Road, no problem. Frankly, maybe somebody should go drive down there and walk over. It's not that terribly far, and take a few photos. I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to come up. That's not much of a road, and there won't be any cars driving down there anytime soon. In the spring. No. You can drive through the mud and leave no trace. Who you, Egbert? It'd be no. I'll just open up the back window, man, and snow will be flying in the cab. Close that pneumonia hole. That doesn't happen. Brown Loop was the way out. How do you get to Brown Loop? Trust the Mad Hatter. How do you get Brown Loop? Let's have a look. have a nice look at their new maps, because they got nice new maps. They changed things and they put some lines down, superimposed some digital lines. It looks very, very cool. What was that? My car has elf boots. Yeah. You wear elf boots. Okay. So here we are, right? Portapique. This is Portapique Beach Road right here. Here's Cabquid Court. Okay. This is, I believe, where the RCMP are saying that he got through. Now, if you look a little closer, well, that line is digitally superimposed. You can see it in a variety of areas. Let's go up here. You see? It's superimposed. And then it suddenly turns into a pretty shitty road, which leads to the brown loop. Oh, sorry. See? It suddenly turns from like a 4-lane highway to like a, because you know all these people are driving up and down this field just for no reason right here. It now turns into a shitty dirt road, which then connects to Brown Loop up here. Now, that is, I believe, the way that they're saying that he escapes. Other ways he can escape. Oh, do you like this road here? This road is pretty awesome. Right through the trees. Do you see the digital superimposing there? He drove so fast he needed a nap. It is a chicken trail. It is a chicken trail. Look at this. Look at this line here. Google puts it there. It's going through trees. That's not a road. That's going through trees. Now, I would like to see somebody driving through trees. Oh, but it connects to Brown Loop. Uh-huh. This is the new and fancy updated map. Do you like it? I like it. Tire tracks would only happen in the desert. That might be Brown Loop. No. There's Brown Loop. If you look at who is it? He drives over there. I think it's the Indo Blue in 2 videos before. It's not the latest one because he doesn't go over there for the latest one. And I don't know who Indo Blue is. Interesting character because he can get access to Orchard Beach Drive. Orchard Beach Drive, as you can see here, oops. As you can see, do you see all these cars here? Right? Those cars are there. You see this white thing off to the behind? Yeah, I think you can see my mouse here. There's signs on here. You can't go down here. All these people have closed this off, supposedly. But Indo Blue could go down here. What he does is he drives down Portapique Beach Road, and then suddenly there's a snip in the video. You can see the cars off to the right, and then he's driving down Orchard Beach Drive. Okay. And he doesn't show you anything of, Wortman's destroyed. Sorry, is that it? No. Where is it? There we go. There's Wortman's compound, the warehouse. Right? This was his. See those photos, the non, before this one was fixed, where he's got the police cars all lined up. Maybe Indo Blue is cop. I don't know. They don't say anything. I'm not accusing them of anything. In fact, I left a comment saying that I'm very thankful for them because they do show me stuff. Security is gone. Oh, well, that's honestly like in the last 3 days or so. 4 days, Molly? Is it not? Because I just asked Tara and she said, no, can't go down. And that sign was a permanent sign. And I thought, where was that? Moneypenny, do you have that sign? Can you repost that, please? In Discord. I didn't download it. The sign, and it's a metal sign. He could be a good cop. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. That information to me is very helpful because I haven't gone through it fully and compared. Like, you have to, using their surveillance photos so you can tell which direction he's turning, and kind of try and piece together, because they show you those Google Maps with all kinds of directions he's driving, and it's completely incoherent, and they know that. That's what they're going for, and completely incoherent. What about the fire hall? What about the fire hall? Who has the money? Who knows? Really, at the end of the day, I don't care. 475,000. If we can get the truth, that's cheap. If we can take down the people who are the bastards. Oh, 2 weeks ago. Now, then that would mean that Indo's video is more than 2 weeks old. Let's go to his video. Banned. Indo. Blue. Filter. Channel. Let's see. What was it called? I linked it yesterday. Was it yesterday? Indo Blue. I can't remember the number. Indo Blue. Let's try Indo Blue. Nova Scotia. God damn it. Nah. Well, I downloaded it, so actually I can just play it. All credit, of course, is due to him, and I'm just using it for instructional purposes. Okay. Resort by date. Here we go. I even made a meme for it. I even made a meme. You're telling me my meme is wrong? Balls. I forget what mark that is. There. That's coming out. I believe. Okay, we're on Orchard Beach. Here we go. There we go. So if you, I don't know, maybe it's just an old video then, but he just posted it. So if you watch here on the right hand side, see the white sign, and you see the car parked there, you'll see a pylon too. Pylons? Right there. That's Orchard Beach Drive. As it was. I don't know. Maybe it's changed. And then he drives out. You can see the sign. But it clips how he gets in there. I suspect, he'd obviously have to talk to somebody to get in. Oh, Great Village. Where am I here? Oh, I think. There we go. He's coming up. There's the sign on the left-hand side. Now he's going to turn back onto right here. That's the sign. And it's a permanent sign. Like it's metal. Now he's turning back onto Portapic. You went down? Okay. Well, I don't know. I know Tara's tried to go down and they've said to her, at least up until recently, then that's fantastic. That's great. If that road is open now, I would love to have photos of, and I'm not saying go and bomb these people, like bombard these people, because they've been through a lot. And I totally respect them. But I would really like to know at the end of Caboquid Road, what's going on there, because Caboquid Court, sorry, I believe that is the way that they're proposing that he gets out, is down there, right here. Aaron's house was over here, and instead of turning to his house, turning right, you turn left on Cabquid Court and go through, because there is a connector here to this little dirt trail. Because I think that is the only way to get to Brown Loop. All the rest have trees in the way. Unless you go supremely 4x4ing, but you also have to remember at the end here, there's a lot of police right here, right? They've been there for a long time. They set up the boundary. So, and you also had To the Beach, Flavor Flav. They also had a lot of people over in, this is the thing. They have roadblocks going all over the place, right? Great Village. They had a whole bunch of police there. And Clinton referred to it. Clinton referred to seeing all the police there in waiting. Excuse me. Would be wonderful shape in the spring. Oh yeah, no, it would be fantastic. I've been selling my truck, you know. I don't need it out at the ranch anymore. I'm just going to buy an RCMP Cruiser, because that'll work real well. I'll never get stuck. Never get stuck with that. So it's just tracing some of these things. The timeline, there is a plethora of data, and some of it is very intentional disinformation. There are certain individuals, I can name a couple, that are out there sowing disinformation. That is their job. I suspect they're smurfing for the RCMP. That's not uncommon. I believe Palango's even spoken of it. It's quite normal that they just go around and they spin disinformation so it messes you up. Just try and stick with the basics. Timeline, route traveled, how long does it take to get between places? Facts. How long did things take to get cleaned up? Not that I really want to use that word, but you know what I'm getting at there, right? Photos, videos of any of this stuff. This is really important. Where are the people? Because I'm just going to start to rage. Where are the people? The witnesses, the good cops, the EMS people, where are they? Are they just going to sit there? Because your hands are kind of dirty if you know about stuff and you don't do something. And frankly, if I'm wrong and we're all wrong, good. Prove it to us. Because our police force isn't going to. It's not going to give Tara or Molly or Tyler or any of these people answers. Not going to. All that they're going to do is sit there in court and fight so that they don't give answers. So if they're not going to give answers, we'll get them ourselves. But in order to do that, that requires people stepping up to the plate. Above and beyond you just have to do the morally thing. The moral thing. You gotta go. You don't want to be known? Fine, good. Let's try and do it anonymously. That's cool. I don't want to, pick on people or bother them or whatever. I just want answers. My friend lost her family. That's pretty fucked up. And all of these people lost their families. You got a province of terrified people. And frankly, this is the same police force that's all across this country. I don't know. I don't know how to get through to people. I know there's stuff out there. I know it. it does seep through bits and pieces. We get things. We got those great photos of down at the Shube turnoff there. Pretty awesome, man. You know, but there's a lot of people. You can see the people. And the media is not going to do it, man. They're seriously not. They're just not. They don't know a lot of the things. They don't know things that we know. I'll tell you that. And that's a fact. That's not me bragging or anything like that. That's us here, right? Here on this channel, all of you guys, these people, heroes, working their ass off to get answers. How many of these people are directly involved in this? As in family members? Not very many. Over here. These are just people. There's Nova Scotians in here. Pretty awesome. But there's people all across the country. Aussies over there busting their ass. Mr. Moneypenny. You got hitters. You got all kinds of good people. I don't even want to pick names because there's just so many. But can we get some of the stuff so that we can do the work? You have to help. Bad cops and OPP too. And like I said, this is a very bad time. Very bad time for this to happen. But frankly, the RCMP have had ample time to clean this up. They've had ample warning. What was it? The Commission on Reform of the RCMP. And how many years ago was that? And I think there was how many ever recommendations? Years and years and years ago. I think it was more than a decade. And recommendations out the ass. And they've done how many? That's right. A big fat zero. Instead, they're raping their own members, throwing them under the bus if they start reporting things and doing the right thing. And lots of them. It's not just Campbell's ex-wife. Lots and lots of them. They'll just throw them right under the bus. Good service. They have a great service career. And then all of a sudden, Mayorthorpe, you've got Mayorthorpe, you've got all kinds of them. Quebec City, you've got Moncton. And like that ex-RCMP member said, I believe he was ex-RCMP, high level RCMP too. They're a danger to themselves and they're a danger to the public. Now, that's the people who are in charge of the emergency alert, which they think they activated, but they really didn't. No. And then you have photos of them and you have a body on the other side. You have unannounced shootings at Onslow, and certainly by the sounds of it, down in Enfield. Unannounced. That's called an execution. That's called murder. I don't want a police force that's murdering people. I don't care how bad you are. We don't murder them. You don't want to bring back the death penalty? Okay, we can all talk about that one or do whatever. But I don't want a police force that's running around just murdering people. Do you know how many people would just end up dead by accident? Clearly, with these clowns, a few. They don't have any pride. What they have is armored vehicles and big guns and tasers and the guy. There's another guy, the airport guy. He got thrown under the bus by the RCMP. He's suing them right now. The Polish guy. I think it was Polish. The person who got tased. I don't know I remember the details of the case somewhat, but the RCMP absolutely threw this guy under the bus. Maybe he was guilty, maybe he wasn't. I don't know the specifics. I'm not going to say anything about that. But he is suing the RCMP. He is a current serving member. And he's suing the RCMP because they've abandoned him. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what rank you are. You have to get to a certain level. When you get to that rank, then you've sold your soul. And it is, oh, fuck, lie to the public. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Oh, those people died. No problem. let's spin it so that it works for us. Shields up, victims' families, shields up. Oh, you might be identifying confidential informants, but there's no confidential informants who gave us this warrant. So, next it's going to be he's a justice collector, injustice collector, and then it just goes on and on and on and on and on. What it is you've got most certainly a murderer, and you've got a police force that didn't do their job, and a lot of people died. And they're culpable, negligent in the deaths of many people, including, most certainly, if I was down there, I would be doing that one. O'Brien, Ms. O'Brien, right? If he didn't get out of Portapique, and he got out of Portapique, how did he get out? Let's hear him. He says it in his own words, Campbell. I like that one. That's one of my favorite quotes. He tries to snow you with the bullshit. He says it. We were just looking at it.
There was one way in and out of the community. It's important to note that.
Mm-hmm. It is actually very important to note that. Because who was at the end of the road? That was them. So if it's one way in and one way out, that means you let him out. He got through Great Village. He got through all kinds of places. He then goes up to Wentworth and D-Bird and down to Gina Goulet's house. All of that's on who? Oh, that's right. Right there. Boom. Because if they stopped him, I don't think there was cruisers running up and down the road, frankly. I think there was a lot of people and cruisers sitting at the end of the road, but there certainly was a vehicle that was driving up and down the road, and they were there. We have references to officers hiding in the woods. We now have evidence, like we talked about last night, of an officer who's getting shot in the foot. We've never heard anything about this, never seen anything about that. Who's that? Clearly, they're referring to somebody. Officer shot in the foot. Oh, and he drops his gun in the forest. Sorry? He's losing his firearm I thought Morrison, if we go with the Morrison story, the RCMP have, well, what's happening to him? Let's see. Let's hear. This one's not very specific. It's not like their press conferences, but their press conferences, they're more likely to lie in, sadly. Both victims were VOM nurses. Thanks for not redacting that. Maybe they could redact that because, that might give away people's identities. Fucking people. I'm telling you. Out of control. Near exit 9, Highway 2, near the AHS station, Constable Chad Morrison, a peace officer and member of the RCMP, was shot blank times. Constable Morrison was shot blank. Constable Morrison survived the shooting. Who shot him? Who saw him get shot? But I certainly don't hear anything about him running around in the forest. And I know in the, let's see. Don't you know you could grow a forest in a car? Yeah. You can grow a forest in your car, and then you can use a cruiser to drive through the forest. Meh. They can't even get their own story straight from a script. Where's that picture? Love that, too. There's all kinds of really good stuff. It's just tragic. This whole thing is just tragic. And you don't have men, and when I'm using men, I'm not being sexist, come on. You don't have men being men. You don't have stand-up people who are saying, you know what, we made some mistakes. These are the following mistakes that we're looking at. We want to fix them because it's really important that you trust us. And we screwed up. We have to admit it. You want your kids to look up to that. Deceitful, lying, dishonest, criminal. Will allow people to, in the wind. These are the people that uphold the law. I learned as a child, those are the higher standard. You have to hold them to a higher standard. And they have to hold themselves to a higher standard. But let's see what they say about the Morrison. Let's try April 28th. Which one shall we use? Should we use one of the edited ones? Global edited this one, I think. Where's the global one? Let's see if we can play the global one because you can hear it. The Escape. The Escape they edited. Yep, here we go.
I'm Corporal Jennifer Clark, spokesperson for Nova Scotia RCMP, and I will be your moderator for this news conference.
Okay, so they all have the same feed. They all have the exact same feed. They're using the same camera system. Now let's see what happens to Global when they're talking about him getting out. Is it here?
Investigators have determined that all 4 police cars were former police models, and the gunman had acquired them through auctions.
Well, I guess he put. I guess he must have bought aftermarket, changed the rims, and then put wheel covers on it, according to because the cops don't use that. Okay, I don't want to hear your French stuff now.
That saw a vehicle that was traveling through a field, which was not very common. And what we've done is we've actually been able to, we are making a plea to anyone in that area.
Do you see what happened? You see what happened? Watch again.
So provided there was a witness that saw a vehicle that was traveling through a field, which was not very common. And what we've done is we've actually been able to, we are making a plea to anyone in that area. If they had seen anything suspicious,
you lose some stuff there.
Contact the police. We've obtained video evidence that shows that the suspect had left the area at 5:43 in the morning, traveling northbound.
Suddenly he just goes from Portapique to...
on his way to Wentworth.
Man.
And news Andy.
No. What am I looking for here? Yes, the 1.8 kilometers. The 1.8 kilometers in the Silver Tracker. The Silver Explorer.
Bordeaux et enquête.
The gunman then traveled along Plains Road towards...
10:08, he's in Debert. And then 10:16, he's in Truro. That's 8 minutes. Does anybody in the chat live up there? Who's driven that distance? Help me out. How long does it take to drive between Debert and Truro? No, they can't read it. They can't. None of them can. They have problems. Amy, you do? Can you tell me how long it takes to drive between Debert and Truro? You can get to Truro in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's 10:18, right? Now, 10:18, but I believe in that meantime, and maybe Molly's here, she can correct me, but according to the press documents, it says that he pulled or had the two VON nurses were murdered in that in-between time. Maybe the press is wrong, but let's see.
You mentioned Bert
Yeah,
to Truro.
that's what I thought.
So
Now, in that in-between time, Molly, was your mother killed between 10:08 and Truro? Because that's a helpful, very helpful one. Because I see a hole in that timeline, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I put the time down in Google, and you must drive fast, Amy. I did it. I did in the maps, and I came out with, I think it was 20 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. But don't think so. Through Onslow, go to Walker Street would take about 15 minutes from O'Deer. O'Deer's got awesome channel. Anybody? I really wish I found their stuff earlier. I really do. Put out a new video today, talking about some of the stuff we were kind of going through last night on the Ozzy's awesome find of the EMS recordings, which I think, were very redacted, obviously, because we're talking about about 5 hours worth, and they trimmed it down to about an hour and 23 minutes. But that's where the shooting was killed before 10. Is that according to the RCMP? Where's the 10:08 reference? 9? Okay, so we have 9. 9:57, right? Plains Road, or sorry, 9:57. He is in Debert. Is that correct? So, and then traveling to Truro by 10:16. So 23 minutes, and in the 23 minutes, he also murders 2 women. Is that correct? No, time is off. Which time? My time? RCMP time. RCMP have a special time. Okay, her call logs. Okay, all right. Now, I've wanted to ask this question for a long time, but okay, do you mind sharing where specifically? Because that would be very helpful. And if you know where Mrs. Beaton, who also goes by another name, which I'm sorry I can't recall, where she was killed, and roughly the time, at least the time for your mom, because then I can start to kind of try and put it together, because I don't think it's adding up. It's not working. In fact, I think I might actually even have that from a news article, but I'm just going to get and feel free not to share. I mean, I want to ask because I want the truth, but at the same time, I don't want to push. It's a very fine line to walk. So please pardon me if I'm treading into dangerous territory. I'm just going to grab a coffee. Yes, Chris and Beat. Please show pics of Big Stop. 2 separate pics, all officers aiming over the hood. 2 desperate photo ops. It definitely appears to be a photo op. I mean, it doesn't coincide with the information that they tell us. It's completely contradictory. They say specifically 1 tactical unit drove up to the pumps and the member had a quote encounter. And the witness says, drove up, jumped out, shot him over the hood, through the windshield. 1 unit. We don't have all the press just camping out at the Big Stop prior and being like, oh, look at this. It's just going down. He dies. So what are they standing around with guns for? And different people running around and all these running around everywhere. What time is the EMS helicopter communication about pickup? Anyone? Sadly, there's very few times. I'm not exactly sure. O'Deer seems to have some times. I'm not sure how they're getting that. I wish O'Deer would contact me, because O'Deer knows a lot of things. First EHS call in Debert was 10:13. The news. Yeah, see, witness statements seem to differ from what RCMP people say. You have the father and son who come across Mr. Bagley shortly after he gets shot. You have the neighbors who were out on their porch and knew what time it was. You have the lady for Ms. Heislip, and what did she say? It was about 40 minutes prior to that she heard a shot, and she got home and started calling her friends sometime around 10, so that makes it around 9:20-ish. So, like, there are certain times, there are witness statements, and the witness statements are contradictory, I believe, to what the RCMP actually say. I mean, even one of the photos is the direction of travel of the car, of some car, whatever RCMP car, is not line up with where they say he's driving. coffee is beer time. Well, cheers to you, Faye. You can have one for me. Fallen soldier, how's that? No more beer for Seamus. That's a good thing too. RCMP didn't detain him. That's key to me. Regional would follow rules. Exactly. Big Stop is in regional. And yet RCMP are the ones who dealt with Mr. Wortman. And even in their photo op, it's all RCMP. And they said, don't go north and don't go north of the airport. They wanted to do everything themselves. We'll call in New Brunswick, 330 kilometers away. Don't worry, come on in. Amherst, no, we don't need you. Truro, we don't need you. Halifax, we don't need you. Yeah, the black marker. Absolutely. Epstein is dead. That's what I maintain, Little Miss O, that he's been dead. Because if you see the last photo that they say, 1031 at the RCMP RCMP oversee that Ministry of Transport weigh scale. So that camera, I believe, has to be accurate. And they're saying it is 1031 that he drives by that. However, the RCMP turnaround changed that. What did they say that it was? There we go. What time did they say? 11:23. And then 3 minutes later, he's getting killed. But that doesn't make sense because the photo says 1031. So what are they talking about? And then you have this one. Nobody still, I don't know. It's weird. Nobody's really picked up on this one. This 1.8 kilometer junket with Weber. This is a big problem. Cannot people see this? The Twitter feed has him driving in the quote silver tracker, confirmed for how long? 18 minutes. And he's in Brookfield and he's in Milford. Neither of which is Shuby 1.8 kilometers south. So what the hell is that? It doesn't add up. I mean, manly face. Also says 1031, 1013 on recording to eat. Okay, so I guess that I hope I didn't upset Molly, but I don't think we're going to be able to get a lot of answers then on that end. Sad, but keep digging, but I don't think we're going to be able to get much because they don't release enough. And in that case, they haven't even said anything. They just say roughly. Oh, okay. Well, and of course I won't make it public. She doesn't want it public. Now, can anybody explain this 1.8 kilometer junket to me? This one has really pissed me off for a long time. Really pissed me off. I've made videos about it before. Weber is, first of all, this is how the RCMP in their warrant sworn in front of a judge, this is how the RCMP refer to Weber. Where is that? Okay. Right. Weber 1724 is Weber. Do you see? That's Weber. We don't have any information on Weber. Nothing on Weber. And yet, for some reason, he's driving around in the tracker, they call it, the tracker, which is in fact not a tracker, but in Brookfield and in Milford. They never addressed this one for 18 minutes on their Twitter feed. However, according to their timeline, all that he does is drive this 1.8 kilometer junket south of Shuby, which takes 76 seconds, I believe it was timed out at, to drive from Mr. Moneypenny and Hitters, and a few people drove it. Thanks to them. Now, why is there an 18-minute off in a different part of Nova Scotia? He's driving around in this car. Why is that in the timeline? Why have they not addressed that one? The Poirot-looking imposter video is a hoax. What? I don't look like Poirot. I don't know if that's... I like Poirot, though. Like, the eggs have to be the exact same size. Little OCD. He's a little OCD. I'm not OCD like that, but... the details. It's always in the details. The little gray cells. Paddock didn't shoot. Okay, now we're into other stuff here. Las Vegas stuff. Okay. Let's try and stay focused. Stay focused on the Nova Scotia stuff if we can. Can anybody answer me about why the Twitter feed has Brookfield and Milford and 18 minutes in the silver tracker, and yet the RCMP just say he takes the silver tracker from the turnoff and drives 1.8 kilometers south of Shuby? Can somebody please help my logic, because it's a complete disconnect to have him somewhere else driving around in this vehicle, this silver vehicle, when in fact he's clearly not. He's driving something else. Being the last tweet, in fact, is he's driving the RCMP, he's driving the silver tracker 2 minutes, apparently 2 minutes before he dies. This is very odd. Somewhere entirely different, nowhere near Enfield. He's over in Milford. Then you had the what is it, Milford Station, where they had the shutdown at the Sobeys and all kinds of other stuff were going on there. They do need justice. You're absolutely right. Okay. Don't worry about it. Come knocking. Come. Hey, listen. I kind of know the judicial process some. And in my defense, I'm going to be deposing a lot of people because I'm simply making statements. And if they're going to come at me, I think the only thing that they can come at me basically for would be libel and slander, possibly. And okay, that's great. I get to mount a defense. And I'll tell you, in my defense, I'm going to be deposing a lot of people to try to prove my position. I don't think they want that. But we'll see. I think they've sewn out this little business about trying to cause fear amongst people. We're investigating other things that people are saying. No, 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 no. Go ahead, investigate all you want. Doesn't matter to me. I'm good with it. I'm good. Yeah, balls. Can't live on life in fear. That's what this is why this has gotten the way that it has, really, in this world. It has. No, honestly, because it would be discovery. And in discovery, I would depose many people. And I have lots of names now, right? Because we're all working away at this, and there's witnesses I would depose. I have their names. I would ask them to come in. I would ask them to say what they saw under oath, under the threat of perjury. Suddenly, a lot of facts would come out. Boom. Just like in the civil suit. Hopefully, praying. But the lawyers who are representing the families in the civil suit have to ask the right questions, and they have to depose the correct people. Otherwise, if they take a settlement or something like this, you're never going to get the answers. And it's not about the money to me, but again, I'm not in that position, so don't know. No, nobody still can explain this one to me. Please. I've been imploring. Oh, good. Go ahead. I've you know me. I've run around espousing violence like crazy. I say all the police are terrible. We should just, boogaloos and nonsense. No. I think I've operated fairly carefully within the legal boundaries, but you never know. I've pushed them a little bit, but that's good. It's better to be on the defensive. I like to watch them on the defensive rather than on the offensive. Yep. I talked about that. Now that is a tragic situation all around on Mr. Campbell's part, but and Ms. Galford's part. It's very sad. But something happened over there clearly that was not good. It sounds to me like Ms. Galford's very good, mother. But I don't know. Nobody can address this one. I'm gonna lose my mind here at some point. If he deposed Leather, he'd be wetting his pants. That's okay. That's what they make depends for. He can do his. We use the Amber Alert. Oh no. Well, we did for the construction sites. Okay, nobody wants to help me answer this one. It's just going to be something that it will be the unanswered question permanently. Yeah, okay. But again, the timeline, they do give us enough information. They give us some very shady, crappy pictures which can't be identified, which don't have dates, they don't have times, they're cropped, all kinds of things, but they do give us some. And I think with the sum, we can literally map it out and check it piece by piece by piece. And I don't live there. I can't drive it. I don't know. Many of you have given details on hey, quick kill, Martin. Welcome. Many of you have provided great details on stuff very early on. O'Deer knows lots of things, went around, did tons of work. Pretty amazing. again, check out that channel. I didn't leave it in the box. It's rather hard to find because it doesn't have, sadly, the subs that it probably should, because there is really wicked information there. Let's see here if I can get that. Put it in there so you guys can all go over and check it out. Where am I going here? Yeah. Is it this one? Oh, I was just there. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Here we go. $19 subs. Went up a bunch. Okay, so check it out. Check it out. I wish I'd found their channel earlier, because they talked about some of the timeline stuff, and I was like, no. And it took me a while to figure it out, but by that point, I'd already mentioned it. But it just, it would have saved time. Would have saved time. 34 minutes. 34. The things that they're trying to tell you defy logic. Honestly, they really do defy logic. The amount of houses burned, the amount of people subdued and killed in Portapique. Subdued. Because these people aren't necessarily shot. How many people, I think, did they say that were burned in Portapique? Sadly, very tragically. Not meaning to be graphic. I think it was 9 of the 13 people were burned. Is that correct? And so you have to subdue those people and tie them up or restrain them in some fashion and then light their house on fire. You're talking about men. I think men are going to fight back. Women are going to fight back when it's talking about life and death. They're going to run. They're going to do all kinds of things. And you've got to drive up and down roads with gas cans and yet they're sitting at the end of the road and nobody sees the car. They know exactly where the Blair's kids are because they're on the phone with 911 for 2 hours. But they say 34 minutes because the 34 minutes gives them the plausible deniability. Oh, well, we just got there. We just missed him. Remember the nailed down 2 hours? We got him nailed down. Oh, he just drove by us. Which, funnily enough, is a very good quote. We were in the area. Interesting. You were in the area. So you could flash up all of these surveillance photos that they have and put in the area. Flash up the next surveillance photo in the area. Flash up the next surveillance photo in the area. It demonstrates, my goodness, that might not be an RCMP. That might not be Mr. Workman because I can't see him in the car. I can't see his face. I can't read that number. The gas pumps are in the way. We can't see if there's a bumper guard on it, even though that there the push bar. Even though there are a couple of them that do have push bars, I think in Newfoundland or Nova Scotia. Very seldom. Very seldom. That happened before 10. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you got the helicopters. The helicopters are in the area in Portapique, right? As soon as he escaped out of Portapique, that was kind of, I really digressed from before. They were hoping to keep it localized and try to suppress and get rid of anything that they could in Portapique, but he got out because they let him out. And you see, as soon as that happened, and then Jenkins and McLeod happened, and they understood that he was no longer in the area that they thought he was in, well, that was when they were like on the Twitter, oh, by the way, this is who we're dealing with. By the way, he's driving an RCMP cruiser. By the way, it's an active shooter. This is much after the fact, right? Because this is in the morning. The morning. They didn't want to tell anybody that in the evening because they were really, really, really hoping that oh, damn it, it's that Wortman 1001 call. We'll just deal with him in the Portapique. Oh, fuck, he got out, man. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, don't worry, just use the Twitter. Maybe few people. And then we could say it's very superior. Very superior. And pretend that we don't really know how to use it, even though we used it twice. 2 weeks before. It's never been about the families. It's never been about telling you the truth. Never, ever been about it. Not since 1001. And it wasn't decades before, because you're talking about more than 10 years. It was never about any of that. What it was about is protecting the image of the RCMP and their lawyers, and everybody has been working overtime and fighting in court to keep you from figuring that out. Because if you figure it out, well, all of a sudden, lots of things start to happen. It all starts to begin to unravel, right? Cities, townships, contracts will all of a sudden be canceled because people will be like, we don't trust you. You clearly operate outside of the boundaries of law. You take the law into your own hands. You say to us, we must respect the law. However, you are complicit in the murder of people. And you do not do anything about it. So you know what? We'll take that contract from Truro. The more and more this goes on, the Colchester, at least, Colchester's getting the idea. The RCMP is really, really bad. It's not working well over there. It's supremely flawed. You've got the lady, I forget her name, murdered, and it came out that they're lying about that. Let's see if I can get that story. And this proves exactly what Mr. Palango said about the idea that the RCMP can lie at any time to anybody. Let's see here. Wow, I've got some not nice things to say about the RCMP. Very interesting. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now, I just do this one here like this. Okay, Bible Hill, Colchester, and the rest of Canada who has the option should immediately terminate their contracts with the RCMP. In addition, the RCMP should be disbanded, all upper management fired, and the RCMP completely overhauled and rebuilt. The police is not a spy force. And they are a spy force. This is a very, it takes a while to study and understand. The RCMP is an extremely powerful entity. It is not, guys standing around with radar guns sitting on the gravel roads. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about an international police force. We're talking a part of Signet, which is the 5 eyes or 6 eyes, if you want to be more specific. But here we go. Court documents contradict RCMP denial that they ignored Susie Bootland's pleas before she was murdered. Okay? Contradict. What does that mean? Court documents contradict RCMP denial. Okay? So they deny. On September 17, 2017, Susie Bootland was murdered by her neighbor, Junior Dugan. As Halifax Examiner reported last week, the murder came after Bootland repeatedly pleaded with the RCMP to intervene to stop Dugan from harassing her. Sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? In fact, Bootland's friend Suzanne Davis told the Examiner Bootland was ignored by the RCMP. And just 3 days before Bootland's murder, an RCMP officer told Bootland that her allegations against Dugan made her, and not Dugan, called her a menace to society and sent her on her way. Before the publication of that allegation, the Examiner requested comment from the RCMP. We agreed to withhold publication for 4 days to give the RCMP time to investigate and get back to us. But, surprise, surprise, the RCMP did not respond in agreed upon time frame, so we published. 2 days later, we received a statement. 2 days! From, Jennifer Clark? You remember, you guys know who Jennifer Clark is, right? Or Jennifer Clark? She's awesome. Where's Jennifer? There. This is her. Meh. That's Jennifer Clark. Anyway, okay. So she decides to answer because of course she's just a fucking media nonsense. I don't even know what kind of job that is. How do you get that kind of job? I don't know. 2 days later, we received a statement from her. Quote, I can confirm that a member from the Colchester district met with Susan Bootland on September 14, 2017 in person at Colchester, sound familiar? Our district RCMP, and had subsequent telephone conversation with her on September 15, 2017. The purpose of the meeting and subsequent conversation was to discuss the progress being made on the matter that the RCMP was investigating following a complaint. Do you really believe this? Do you really believe it? They were investigating. They were doing all these super things. With reference to his notes and those dates, which are on file, the RCMP officer has advised that during the in-person meeting on September 14th, Bootland was content with what the police officer told her, and the conversation was amicable, meaning, it was friendly. Hey, how's it going? Pretty relaxed. He advised that during the beginning of the phone conversation on the 15th, Bootland was somewhat upset. However, he clarified some of the points that he had done in the in-person meeting the previous day, and the call was ended with her seeming to be satisfied. It was an amicable conversation. They love to use, they think that they're big words, but they fail. The RCMP officer did not tell Bootland did not tell Bootland that she was a menace to society, or tell her to mind her business. The allegation of sexual assault was made to the RCMP. This seems to be a very common one. Very, very sad. Very sad about the women in the RCMP getting, just completely disregarding what they're saying. The allegation of sexual assault was made to the RCMP on August 7th, 2017, and a related incident that is alleged to have occurred on July 2nd. Wow, we're really progressing fast here. Between August 7th and September 17th, we have records of phone conversation between Bootland and the police on August 7th, followed by an in-person visit to the RCMP to Bootland's visit home the same day. The RCMP spoke to her on the phone on September 12th, and an in-person meeting with her September 14th, and a phone call on September 15th. You know what that is? It's just a lot of bullshit, a lot of hot air that just try and confuse people. Don't worry about the dates. Don't worry about it. The important statement here is RCMP did not tell her that she was a menace to society or tell her to mind her business. And also the other one I think would of note would be how long that this lady had been complaining and how long it had been since she had been registered a complaint of rape. In short, the RCMP denied that any officer told Bootland that she was a, quote, menace to society for making allegations against Dugan. We immediately updated our article on that denial. Since then, however, the Examiner has obtained victim impact statement from Dugan's trial and the agreed statement of facts from Dugan's conviction. And those documents support Davis's allegations while contradicting the RCMP denial. I am still outraged over Susie's abrupt dismissal from the RCMP office in Bible Hill, September 14th, 17th. She went there to inquire why her case had been closed. She called me in tears, telling me that she was told to go home and that she was being a public nuisance. I remember the call 4 days later that she had been murdered by Junior Dugan. Oops. Did you lie? Does it seem like Colchester does a lot of lying? Does it seem like the RCMP foster that environment and say, you know what? Nothing to see here. If you don't know that you have a problem, do you know what? That means the problem is probably all over the place. If you're trying to bury it, probably means the problem is all over the place. Just like the former senior officer in the RCMP who said, quote, the RCMP are a danger to themselves and to the public. Bing. But you see, what they'll do is you'll have Corporal Clark, right, come out late in the day. Here she is, right? Corporal Clark, come out late in the day and lie. Again. And say, oh, no, that never happened. She never complained. We never said that she was a menace to society. Never. Well, it turns out, just like Mr. Palango said, the RCMP do lie at any time that they feel that it's appropriate. Don't worry about it. Do you think it's appropriate to lie to protect themselves? Did they do it here? In the Dugan-Bootland affair? Apparently. Now, that's one lady. We're talking about 22. We're talking about absolutely massive, the largest mass murder in Canadian history. Do you think they're going to say that they did a bad job? Do you think they're going to tell the truth on that one? Or do you think they're going to lie? Lie. Pants on fire. Pants on fire. They lie. Go on. Say it isn't so. Don't know. They would never do that. Never, ever do that. Never. As East Coast would say, what news? What news? They've lied to you from the day one. What the fuck? That goddamn Wortman. Now we've got to try and fix it. There. What are we going to do? It's okay. We'll get them locked down in that Portapic area. I know some of you are scared. You're running off in the forest. It's okay. We'll wait. We'll wait till that armored vehicle comes. So nobody go in there. And you get a few good ones, and they're like, I know about those kids on the 911 call. What the hell are you doing? Going in there to save those kids. Because there's lots of us, and there's one of him. And I'm going in there. They go in. They're probably in shit for that, I bet you. Disobeying orders, right? Meanwhile, you get the cowardly clowns sitting at the end of the road, or ones that just seemingly don't have a heart, waiting while people are being murdered all that time, right? Because the 34 minutes is complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. Because how long does it take to light a house on fire? Let's try. Let's try. Light a house on fire. Let's subdue lots of people. Tie them up and burn them. Drive up and down roads with gas cans. You know? Then he's escaping through fields. And oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you believe it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Just like bootling. And we'll wait till, according to Clinton Ellison, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. He was picked up by the armored personnel carrier. Okay, that's 6 hours later. So who do you think was running up and down the roads doing all that stuff, which would take time? Was he out by then? I don't know. I don't think so. Because Leather said during the course of the evening there was an exchange of gunfire. He said that the first night. An exchange of gunfire during the course of the evening. Oh. So you were shooting back at him. But I thought you weren't there. So if you weren't shooting at Wortman, who were you shooting at? Or do you think we're into more of this? I think it's more like that. I think it's a little bit more lying. 34 minutes, my ass. Anybody with half a brain and 3/4 of an ass can figure that one out. No, not 34 minutes. And you were all sitting at the road, one way in, one way out. And guess what you did? Come on through. Bible Hill. Don't worry about it. Come on. And then he goes up. And he kills the Jenkins and McLeod. And then he's down. And he's killing O'Brien. And he's killing Beaton. These people had families. And that's on who? Oh, that would be on them. So they're liable. Liable in the deaths of all these people. And that's if you just believe the part about getting out of Portapic. Now, if you go back decades, where they knew about the guns, they knew where they were, they knew about numerous complaints from the father, from Halifax Regional Police, which busted him with a shotgun, from the beating that he handed out with a crowbar and another grown man on a 15-year-old child in 2001. That's 2 decades. And he said, yeah, well, there was actually one of the guns that he used was there that whole time. We just never did anything about it. He admitted it. Doesn't matter about all of his words and his, well, certainly 3 guns weren't there, but maybe there was 1 gun, which we know about. Yeah, there was. So you just admit it. I don't care about all the stuff you said before. What you just said at the end was it was there. And you didn't do anything about it. But that's called libel, or complicity and negligence. Negligence. And frankly, even though there's a much higher burden of proof, I think there could be some people that could be criminally charged once there's enough evidence that comes out from a civil case. Ooh, that would be very bad. Luck saying false testimony in warrants. That might be a problem. Might be a problem for the people down in Shuby who are shooting their own officer. Oops. Trying to cover that up. Might be a problem down at Enfield, right? Unannounced murder. Might be a problem over in Onslow, unannounced. I don't want to give details away about that interview because I don't know why I didn't get it done. But anyone reached out to Mr. Ellison? Yes. Common. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not in these people's shoes, right? I'm not. So I don't know what all they're facing. It appears as though Mr. Ellison has been threatened with committal mental health services. He does specifically say, please don't come and take me from my house. I love the RCMP. Everything's great. I'm totally crazy. Don't worry about it. Here's all my pills. I've almost murdered a woman before. Make this go viral. Like, complete insane. Like, that's no. People even who are mentally ill don't do that. That's really out there. People who are mentally ill want to conceal the fact that they're mentally ill. They don't like people knowing that because they're ashamed of it. They don't say, yeah, just tell everybody about it. You know what? It's not going to damage the rest of my future at all. I want to have girlfriends in the future. You know it. Of course, I'm just going to tell everybody I almost murdered a woman. That's completely preposterous. Preposterous. I can't be too serious all the time? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Oh, I think it's U and J. G. U and G. Who lived at 46 Cabquid Court? .46 Cabquid Court. That is... Faye's out. Out. Bye, Faye. Have a good evening. Take good care. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm probably going to wrap it up anyways. 46 Cabot Court is the Tux. That's who lives there. Who, me? I've never been to Truro. Is that what you're saying to me? I've never been to Truro. No. I don't know where that's coming from, but I haven't been to Truro. One day, I will get down there. He told the truth, and it was recorded. It was recorded. CBC went back and scrubbed it out. That same media wing of the RCMP. They went and removed the part where he said, you guys didn't do your job. Well, isn't that what he said? Isn't that what he believes? Somebody else in this story, I won't get into it, I'm not going to name names, right? But somebody else in this story was threatened by the RCMP. That's on the record. Shouldn't have done that. because that's on the record. Oops. You don't threaten people. Oh, we could charge you. Whoops. Not a very good thing to do. See, but that's how sensitive and caring that they are about the family. But very important, right? It's like cars and these kinds, and being so transparent and trustworthy and whatever else. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Onslow. Ouch. Onslow, big problem. Don't believe Allison just changed his mind. Not for a second. Well, it's seeming that way. I don't know what other reasonable explanation there is for a man, first of all, to be disputed in the warrant. We have 20. He's walking on the beach with his brother. According to who? Harluck and the RCMP. That's what they're going to say. On the 22nd, according to Clinton Ellison himself, in recorded interview, so that's firsthand testimony. He was there. They were at home. But what did they do 2 days later? They go and get another warrant, and they say that he's on the beach with his brother. No, you who weren't there can't say what happened. You can't tell him, listen, because we're the RCMP, you know what? This is what happened to you. Come here. I don't know. I don't know the relationships down there. I know a little bit, but I don't know. And frankly, you see, again, this is my point. Thank you. That is my point. This is why we need people to come forward so that we can separate the wheat from the chaff and also clarify details. People who know things, EMS people, witnesses, people who have videos and photos. And it doesn't need to be, because I can understand. I can get that. You don't want to take these people on? That's fine. I'm happy to. You don't have to have a name, but the information is helpful. And you're helping out those families that need help, that are seeking the answers from these people who won't give them anything. What they will do is have complete disregard for any sense of humanity by lying to them, lying to the Canadian people, lying to the families, by returning cars in deplorable conditions. I don't even, like, it's mind-boggling. Who made that decision? They should be fired. Fired. You know what? I think we're gonna call them. Come pick up your car. What? Excuse me? Like, you aren't a good person. But no problem. We didn't do anything wrong here. No, nothing wrong here. Ms. Bootland, no problem. We'll just tell you, we didn't call her a menace to society. We didn't dismiss her at all. She wasn't just sitting around for months. Do you know how many people have come forward with that exact kind of same story? Maybe it doesn't involve the murder part of it. Separate women, unrelated, who have come forward and said, listen, the RCMP completely disregard what I say. They actually threatened me and told me that I need to shut my mouth. I'm like, who would do that? Nobody would do that, man. It's not just incompetent. That's the thing. It is incompetency, but it's also utter disregard for all people, and more insidiously and malicious, far more malicious, is the idea that nobody counts. Nobody counts but this. That's it. That's a problem. That's not a police force. That's a thug force. Here, Facebook. Facebook, somebody's requested to be a friend of mine. I don't, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak to that, DC. I don't know. I do know the email that somebody received today, and it seems to be a bit of a veiled jab. I think it's a bit of a veiled jab over this direction. Here, this way, here, this way. You guys, a little bit. And I'm not meaning to strike fear, because you don't have any reason to fear. You're being legal, you're being law-abiding, you're doing the right and the proper thing. Again, though nobody would fault you for walking. But you can't hope that this is ever going to clean up on its own. Doesn't matter what parliament you have, what party. Yeah. No. These people are in it for themselves. It's all about the power. It's all about it doesn't matter. It was almost like you could hear it when they talked about how they lost a family member and the RCMP family member, and she's a mother of two, and all of these things, right? They made it all about them. And then they're like, oh yeah, and some other people died. We're sorry about that. I was like, no, there's lots of other people involved here. Lots of other people involved here. They all have families. You know what? They didn't have a gun. They didn't get paid. They didn't sign up for a job that entailed danger and get properly remunerated for that. Well compensated. No, they didn't, and they didn't sign up to be part of a force that has thousands of members behind them. No, they were just in their bed sleeping. And because of your 2 decades of not dealing with the situation, if you want to believe the most optimistic look at it, but I don't really err on that side. I go more with the opposite, which is that actually was a member of your force, and this was why he got the passes. This is why you ignored, and this was why you shit your pants as soon as you got the call at 10:01, because you're like, oh my God, we really fucked this one up. The shell's in the car. I don't know. Shell ejection. The only thing I can think of. Close range shell ejection. Right? Leans in the car. But again, I don't want to be too graphic. Good night, Amy. Thanks for coming out. Who's it from? Whose guns do you think they don't want you to know about? Let's ask it that way. If they were just Wortman's guns or some guy who died in an estate or even some guy down in Michigan, do you think they would have a problem telling you about that? Do you think they would? They're not going to tell you the caliber. They tell you very few details, which, funnily enough, a few people who are intimately familiar with guns do indicate that that is, has hallmarks of the same weapons that the RCMP use, hiding the ballistics, hiding the autopsy reports. Why? You remember the one witness, and he says, I don't remember what date it was. The first guy who they told, right? Or they were informed of immediately. It was Gabe Wortman. Of course, they knew that from the phone call, right? Because they knew exactly who it was. They knew, oh my God, Portapique Beach, we know who that is. It's not like, oh, who could that possibly be? But they get down there, and the first person they come across told them, oh, it was Gabe, number one. When did you hear about that? Oh, that would be the next day after they'd let him through the barricades multiple times. And he'd gone over and now tortured and murdered Ms. Jenkins and Mr. McLeod. But that he was driving the police car, right? But they had another little detail in there too, which changed between the warrants. What do you think that was? Do you guys remember? Let's see if I can find it here. Might have something to do with guns. I don't know, Mr. Moneypenny. These are questions that I have, but I'm not going to probe too far on. And perhaps that's a conversation maybe that I can have privately, that if she's feeling. There's an interesting point about the girlfriend escaping. I mean, the girlfriend escaping through the cage, which doesn't seem possible, but had she escaped through the cage, she just crawled over a whole bunch of guns that he had in the front seat. Seems rather strange. Well, I'd like to read it verbatim, but I can tell you what it is. The first person that was maybe shot, maybe not, who exactly knows. But apparently, and yes, there is the name for that person, but again, please don't say it because that's not the name of the game. that person found a bullet in their shirt, right? So they had it, and then they lost it somehow. It just went missing. So let's see here. No ballistics report, no autopsies. The bullet goes missing. Are you seeing a pattern here? They don't want anybody knowing about the guns. Who does that serve? Who could it possibly, as a motive, serve? I don't think it could serve a build that board. Let's build that board. Less paper. I don't know. I'm a paper guy, even though I'm disorganized. I like paper. Paper's good. Reading and writing and paper. But who does that serve? Does it really change anything if you say, my goodness, he had a 223 rifle? Okay. And that compromises what investigation? I'm sorry? Because I'm sure there's lots of gun dealers, and it's not like you have a 223 store. No, who it serves is possibly the RCMP. Because if they suddenly say the caliber of the weapon and the make and model of the gun, well, that might actually be what the RCMP are issued. As they have said with Stevenson's gun, right? But this is why they said, okay, the gun, the clip, and the magazines were missing, so that's why we have Gina Goulet more than likely shot with an RCMP weapon. But the rest of them, we're not going to tell you. But we knew that he had them. We knew where they were, but we just never took them away. He had a badge. He had multiple police cars. He had multiple real, authentic uniforms. The RCMP cruiser that was fully decked out to the point that people who do that for a living for the RCMP are like, this is perfect. Perfect. This isn't some guy in his basement doing it. It's got a rear-facing laser gun in it. It's got the Kage, which you can't buy just at your corner store. You need a special account that's police authorized and buy it out of the United States. So how does he have access to all this stuff? All police stuff. Is it because he's a secret agent man? He's a CI? How many CIs run around with cop cars? The CI I was talking to the other night told him, get a raise, man. He's like, I can't get $475,000. No way, man. Really? You need a raise. Because don't you know, all CIs get that. All of them get cars. All of them get badges. All of them have multiple police uniforms. All of them get left alone for decades. No, that's a policeman. That's a policeman. Just contain it. Yeah, I know. My mom always bugging me. I need to buy a filing cabinet. I use totes. Girlfriend knew people in neighborhood why she hid in the woods all night. Why didn't she freeze then? Why do they want the GPS records for the Mercedes? Oh, that's a question actually I need to ask. That's a question I need to ask. And that actually will help a lot. Because I do know that Mr. Wortman was in New Brunswick that afternoon with the girlfriend at a person's house. I can find out what kind of car they were driving. So why do you want the Mercedes? Why is the Mercedes not burned? Why do they want the Mercedes GPS records? I suspect this is the girlfriend, and she's not freezing in the woods because she's in the Mercedes. Does that sound plausible? Plausible? Well, I believe Novella is the leasing company for the mall. I don't think he owned the mall. But there is all kinds of funny games with his business stuff, including if you go as far back as the ex-wife. She's got some money, too. Where are you getting this money from? Because it isn't from doing Brightspace. Was Griffin doing Saturday night? He's probably at the party, I would suspect. It sounded like a lot of people, like they kind of hung out. It sounds like it. I mean, about the cop who murdered Wortman. Oh, they would never, I don't think they would identify that period. Even if we were living in the best of worlds, I don't think they would identify that because that would be, that person has to deal with a lot, right? In this case, I think a lot more than a lot, because I don't think they went by the book, shall we say. But it would be a lot to have on it. It is a lot to have on one's conscience, right? Taking of another human life is something not easy and weighs on the conscience. So I don't think they would ever identify who that is, but the circumstances around it are very sketchy. No. It's the first FIR warrant. He owns Novella Holdings. Also, I checked. When I did title search, he's not listed as a shareholder or on the directors. So I'm not sure. There is one person that's listed, and that person, I don't know if they're a front for Mr. Wortman. The best I could discern was that I thought it was the mall company for the second location. Again, the second location, very kind of off the radar, right? And they're not really, they're attached, but on paper, they're not necessarily, like, Wortman's he does a lot of funny things with his namings and stuff. Oh, that reminds me, we can look at a couple of things, because I was asking some questions about me. I was asking some questions about the one minute. Oh, okay. There we go. Now, let's see here. Show of hands if you still believe GW is alive. Was there a party? No, that hasn't been confirmed. It's been written about that there was a party, they did seem to have a lot of parties down there. That was not abnormal. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I did know those two details. That's from the paper. Okay. Now, let's see here. Where was that? I asked about... All right, so this is the kind of stuff that's a little bit shady with, let's see, how am I doing that? Here we go. A bit shady with stuff like the Atlantic. The shady with the Atlantic. So if you go through Atlantic, who are the people listed? Well, you've got Tom Pattenden, Philip Wynot, who I believe is a denturist, a fellow denturist, and that's it. Now, that's awfully strange because it's his company, but it's registered in other people's names. Or is it their company and he's just an employee? In which case, how the hell does he have this kind of money? The Northumberland investments, very seldom spoken of. What is the Northumberland investments? It was current. This is, where is it? Northumberland investments. Active. Oh, better go through that quick. Macquarie. Oh, really? Now, I know you guys have common names down there. Maybe somebody can fill me in on how common Macquarie is. The current judge overseeing the warrants release, her name is Halfpenny-Macquarie. Let's look at Northumberland here. Northumberland. Directors and officers. J.T. Macquarie. Hosea T. Macquarie. Marilyn Ann Macquarie. Robert D. Macquarie. Does that strike anybody as odd? Do you think they're related? That would be a supreme conflict of interest if they were. Oops. The judge is also related to somebody who is partners, presidents, directors, agents, executive vice president, secretary, and another director of Northumberland Investments. Common name? Northumberland, not mentioned at all. Sort of a common name. Here we have all kinds of drugstores with the name on it. Well, it might be worthwhile researching whether these people are related. Judge related to his denture clinic's executives' corruption continues. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is they hold the name in common. That's it. I don't know if that means that they're kin or just pure happenstance because of a common name. Just an observation. Some great work by hitters. We've got Chad Morrison has a Tweeties. Chad Morrison made a statement on Facebook, of course, Facebook. You have to do everything written because then it's already pre-screened, goes through the lawyers, goes through the PR firms, and then goes on to the Facebook or gets sent in an email from this, where is it? From this lady, days and days later, right? She'll send an email after a story is run and deny and lie. The Facebook post from that individual, Mr. Morrison, Constable Morrison, well, that's gone. I've tried to look up who, if there's a record of the Facebook post. I've never seen it. I've heard it referred to in the media, never seen it. Don't know if it existed or didn't. I don't know. But it's awfully strange that you'd make a Facebook post about, hey, really glad everybody came out for me the next day because I was wounded so terribly that I could go home the next day. And I have, the professional photographer shoot by, who is it again? Sharon Lee Photography, who isn't Sharon Lee, but anyways, a different lady who actually owns that company and does the photography, but she's clearly a professional photographer. She's out there and you've got the RCMP parade going on once again, while families still are waiting, most of them, to find out news of whether their loved one is dead. Where is Hitters? Hitters is probably not in the chat. He was here earlier. Hitters is, I really like Hitters. He's a good guy. I could honestly, like, some people are just fantastic. You can sit down and have conversations with them for the longest time. Hitters is one of those guys. He's funny and he's smart and he knows what's going down. Who is who married to? Sorry, Mr. Moneypenny. Macquarie? Halfpenny. I guess I'm guessing. Let's see if we can find anything on her. Justice. I don't know how I'd still like to know how the warrant case, which was is being challenged by the media consortium, who really is reporting but kind of isn't reporting some of this stuff. Why the judge changed midway through. Where's Bagan? Judge Halfpenny Macquarie. Okay, let's see what we can find about that person. Maybe something. Lori Halfpenny Macquarie. Judge, Provincial Court, Nova Scotia. She was previously a Crown prosecutor for 6 years. Wow. Wow, she went to judge very quickly. 6 years practice. Whew. Michael Penny. Halfpenny. I'm guessing Halfpenny was her maiden name? I don't know. Is Halfpenny a maiden name down there? Or not a maiden name. Is Halfpenny a name? Surname down there? Very interesting because you can ask these questions about Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is such a small province that lots of people know each other or know somebody who knows somebody. It's really cool that way. You're having up to A Caesar. Awesome. Awesome. I used to like my Caesars too. Spicy. Pickled asparagus. Very good. I have to put tons of Tabasco in for me, though. Not a normal name. Okay. If I lived there, I'd be picketing for the truth on the steps daily. You are. Sounds English. I'd never heard the name before. It's a hyphenated name. Laurel Halfpenny Macquarie. Again, now I'm treading into dangerous territory talking about a justice, but I think it's okay because her name is in the public. So she gave women's leaders of indigenous communities. She gave a keynote address to the women's leaders in indigenous communities. Okay, let's see. Maybe it's got some background on her. I don't want to dox her. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to see. Find Lowry. Laurel. It's Laurel. She may be Micmac. Possibly. I don't want to get that wrong. The possibly Wagmatcook. Wagmatcook First Nation? Don't know. Maybe. But I don't understand how that case got moved. Because it appears as though that got moved. Oh yeah, Golden Mail. I'm not sure. 2 cents, I know. Greg Mercer. Greg Mercer reached out to somebody recently. So by this point, the end of April, still at April 30th, Al Bagan is the justice presiding, but moved to Justice Halfpenny Macquarie. I don't quite understand why that happened. Perhaps that's a course of business that's normal in that case. I don't know, but it seems rather interesting. Anyway, I'm probably going to wrap it up. Please do, if you have the time, feel like joining tomorrow with Americanuck. Should be a good time. So it's down below, the link. Again, I think it's from 12 Mountain, so that's 3 Atlantic till 4. 12 to 1 or 3 till 4 Atlantic or 2 till 3 Eastern. And I've left his Twitter also below. He's a really cool guy. He's been very supportive of me over the years. And he absolutely, people down in the United States are very interested. It's a United States broadcast predominantly, but obviously it's on internet. So, but it's good to have those Americans supporting us. And he mentioned something rather interesting to me. I'm going to have to research that about the, denturists don't make a ton of money. They don't make a ton of money, at least according to Don the denturist. But he mentioned something interesting I know nothing about. I haven't even bothered to go and look. But he said something about that the FBI It sounds a bit different, as in, doesn't seem like something, but maybe. The FBI has now the authority to investigate crimes in North America. They have the jurisdiction, period. If that is the case, I'm going to have to ask, if that is the case, might it be interesting to approach the FBI with some of this stuff? It's not exactly like I'm huge on them either, but what options? So you got to exhaust your options, I think. So if that's an option, it'd be pretty cool to just kind of hand some stuff over and see what happens. But anyway, he didn't own Novella. It's listed as business property, but his name isn't on any paperwork, and it's leased to Atlantic Dentistry Clinic in New Brunswick. Novella is leased to Atlantic? Or Novella has the lease for Atlantic? I think Novella is the mall. Yeah, Mike's been really good. I did a couple of shows. I could have broadcast or put them. I was going to put them together for a video, and I started. But of course, just like every other video I do, live stream seems to be what I do now. But I did a couple of broadcasts with him very early on. I think it was like day 3 and 4 I did them. And he's like, oh, you call anytime, man. He's always like that. Just if I want to come do something. So I thought there was a bunch of new details that we could share, now that have a lot of questions that maybe Americans might be interested in. So we'll see. Employee said he deals with Wortman only 3452 Novella is leased. Yeah, that's what I think, oh dear. That's what I seem to come up with. They were the mall, and they leased the location. That's Halifax, right? I think the second location, which really is, again, something that is very quiet. They keep very quiet about the second location. And the second location doesn't have him on paper, whereas the Dartmouth one does, but they are tied together because they are on the same website. They have the same name. In fact, they refer to each other. So I don't really understand if that's a partnership or what. There's 3 individuals other than Wortman, Mr. Wynot. There's 3 other individuals aside from Mr. Wortman. They're involved with the Atlantic denture stuff. So I don't know. Maybe someone needs to reach out to Norman Traversy. He may point. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Don't worry. I feel you, oh dear. I really do. I really do. We should talk sometime. I'd be interested in talking. It seems like you want to be kind of off the record, but we can have an off the record call if you want. I would be interested in speaking to you because you do know a lot of stuff. Not that nobody else here doesn't, because lots of people do. I don't know who Norman Traversy is. I'm guessing that's somebody who I see. Yeah, I think that's mixing way too much together. Now you're going into different places that, it may be interesting to have a conversation about it, whatever he's doing. whatever's going on down in Nova Scotia probably doesn't time for a flow chart. I think the flow chart is mostly mental. For me, there's no way I'd be writing and stuff forever. Making graphics. Nova Lee, my mispronunciation. Thank you, Mr. Moneypenny, for correcting me. He talked a lot about this case. Well, I don't know. If you're interested in reaching out to him, obviously you can. Maybe he's interested in talking. I don't know. There seems to be a few people that have interest in it. Frankly, I'm not sure why lots of other people don't. I think actually I heard something about James Corbett talked about it. Of course, he's Canadian, but it's not really his. He doesn't really talk too much about Canada. He's pretty global, living over there in Japan. Canadians like Japan, eh? Black Pigeon speaks, but I haven't seen anything about what he did. So, but I did hear about it. So, Taurus is leased to Berkshire Broman. Yeah, Berkshire Broman gets talked about a lot, but I think maybe is there a reason why? Why we don't hear about no, I'm forgetting the name. Why is that not coming to my mind? Northumberland Investments, which is active, which was listed in the will. What is Northumberland Investments? What is it invested in? It seems to have a lot of people too. If this is the actual company, it's way bigger than Broman, Berkshire. Way bigger. Got a lot of people associated with this. So, I don't know. Interesting. Okay, guys, take good care. I'm going to wrap it up, and I do hope that you have a super evening. Thank you all so much for all of your help, all of your input. Paying me some mind, even. That's just amazing. All the support over here that we're getting on the Discord. Of course, the invitation is open to anybody. Please welcome you and your assistance, your great brain power. Amazing. And there's good people, like good friendships developing. It's really good stuff happening. And any tips that you have, anything that you're interested in, please, for love of God, because that's the only way this is going to get figured out, is between all of us. Send it to me or any of the people involved listed down below. You can do so confidential. You can't do anything really confidential anymore on the internet, but you have my word, and I'm only as good as my word. So that's basically all I'm worth. So anyway, have a super evening. Special prayers. God bless everybody.